Or older, listen up. Between October 2007 and March 2009, the Dow lost over 54% of its value, and it took over 5 years to recover those losses. Historically, there's a market downturn every 5 to 7 years. So just when we're getting back to even, you're already looking at another potential downturn, and no investor can tell you when that's going to happen. Everyone's just guessing. Do you want to guess with your life savings? After personally losing 35% of my family's life savings in the crash years ago, I discovered 2 strategies to stop worrying about when to buy or sell, because when the market goes up, your money grows. When it crashes, you lose nothing. When it bounces back, your money grows again without having to make up those losses. So stop gambling and replace it with peace of mind. So grab your cell phone and listen to a free recorded message for more information. Call us right now at 800-861-1776. Again, it's 800-861-1776. Call now.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station. It's news time on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Good morning, I'm John Schaefer. The Clark County School District is instituting a pilot initiative to get students to stay in school. Students with a high absence rate will get personalized messages and more attention from attendance officers. The district also will debut a new truancy prevention program where family advocates will visit the homes of frequently absent children. The Clark County Department of Aviation is asking for an increase in parking fees at McCarran Airport, the first hike since 2013. The airport would like to raise the daily maximum rate for long-term parking by $2, economy lot rates by $2, and valet rates by $7. Impound fees would also go from $10 a day to $50 a day. Democrat Tom Steyer says he knows he got into the presidential race relatively late, but he thinks most voters are going to make up their minds at the last minute before they start casting ballots early next year. Steyer, who joined the race in July, told a Henderson crowd Monday that he thinks the Democratic presidential race is completely up in the air and there's lots of time for him to make his case. With a check on our weather, here's News 3's Kelly Curran.
We're looking at more beautiful weather across the area today. More sunshine and highs topping out in the upper 70s, so still a little bit above normal. Keep listening for more updates throughout the day from News 3, your weather authority.
Sunny and 55 in Las Vegas. I'm John Schaefer on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, Las Vegas' only FM news talk station. With a look at the roads, here's John Michaels in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Pardee Homes. Watch for slowing for the crash on the 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at I-15, vehicles off to the right. Another crash on the Beltway eastbound at Jones off left. And up north, an accident on the 215 Northern Beltway eastbound near I-15. Vehicles again off to the left, still active. An accident with injury sustained reported Lamb north of Boulder Highway. Get smart by savings on move-in ready homes valley-wide from the high 200,000s at PardeeSmart.com. Pardee Homes is an equal opportunity housing builder. Nevada Contractors License Number 3633A. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Blue Emu Lidocaine Cream and Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Cream both are deep penetrating and odor-free. Beat the pain 2 ways and live life. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
You can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
News 3 live at 11 with Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera, leading the way in Las Vegas.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
You got a minute? I need your help. You see, 1 out of 6 vehicles have been recalled because of dangerous Takata airbags. One of them could be yours. Defective airbag parts can explode, causing serious injury, even death. Go to safeairbags.com and see if your vehicle is on the recall list. And if it is, get it fixed for free. It could save your life.
The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? The Vegas Take back at you on a Tuesday. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us. Also streaming live on the Vegas Take YouTube page. And we got a big show in store for you today, as we always do. But, you know, sometimes I lie and I hype up a show when maybe it doesn't deserve to be as hyped as it is today. We do have some huge guests coming on the show. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, Congresswoman Dina Titus. And why is it so important to have her in studio? Well, she has been a part of this impeachment inquiry, a former panel member. And she has been privy to some classified information, and she has been behind closed doors. What does she think about this impeachment inquiry? The details, we are going to go over all of it with her coming up at the bottom of the hour. So she's going to be joining us in about 25 minutes or so. The homeless problem in Las Vegas continues. What do I mean by that? Well, now a new ordinance being put in place by Carolyn Goodman, which I completely disagree with. Whereas if you are sleeping in the streets, you could be fined up to $1,000. If you're homeless, I don't know how you have access to up to $1,000, and you go to jail.
Yeah, you can also be arrested. That's very interesting.
So we're going to talk about that with Minister Stretch Sanders coming up in hour number 2. UNLV basketball opening up the season today against a team called Purdue-Fort Wayne. No, not that Purdue, not the Boilermakers. Purdue-Fort Wayne, they're in the Summit League. Game 1 of the TJ Otzelberger era tonight at the Thomas & Mack Center. So we'll talk about that. A Popeye stabbing over a chicken sandwich, the new chicken sandwich. Yeah, it's a wild story. We'll get to that. And if you had a chance to catch Monday Night Football last night, a black cat stole the show. The game sucked. We'll talk about this cat controversy. O.J. Simpson with a new video out. So a lot to get to, a lot to go over. And normally, I never start off the show talking about UNLV football. And this might be the only time, other than the fact that I think the inevitable that Tony Sanchez is going to be fired. As you know, Tony Sanchez, the former Bishop Gorman high school football coach, got the job here at UNLV over 4 years ago. And I said it then that I thought it was a bad hire, even though we like Tony Sanchez. He's a really good dude. But I said you can't hire a high school coach with, and expect him to win and turn a program around when he's never coached at the college level. Well, I think it's inevitable. We've said all season if he doesn't make a bowl game, he's gone. Now he's mathematically out of making a bowl game. And he's being asked about that. And Desiree Reed-Francois, we request her to come on the show this week. They declined. She's apparently, quote-unquote, traveling, whatever that means. Maybe she's looking for a new football coach. I don't know. And I said it a million times. We like Tony. He's come on our show. He's never said no to us, and he's been very, very gracious with his time. And it's not personal, but he just hasn't gotten the job done here. And I think if you don't agree with that, then there's something wrong with you. You don't know anything about football. Well, apparently God doesn't know anything about football either. Let me explain. Tony Sanchez was asked after the game about his thoughts on, do you think he should resign? Now, I think that's kind of a stupid question because a football coach is not going to resign midseason unless there's some sort of horrible controversy surrounding the team. Usually it's not wins and losses that would force a college football coach to resign. Usually it's some sort of scandal, I guess you could say, whether it's a sexual scandal or, I don't know, cheating, that sort of deal. So, no, I don't think Sanchez is going to resign. But here's the response he gave to the Review Journal. And he said, I tell myself I'm where I'm supposed to be. The Lord wants me here right now doing what I'm doing. If I worry about all that stuff, job security, how am I good for those kids anymore? First of all, I'm so tired. I am so sick and tired of people mixing sports and God into the equation. If there is a God out there and he wants Tony Sanchez at UNLV, then God is trying to hurt UNLV. God doesn't know anything about college football if that's the case. Why is Tony Sanchez bringing up God? I have no idea. But he has not done a good job here. And if not for the Fertitta connection, if not for the money that has been infused into the UNLV program, he probably wouldn't have returned for year 5. I think we all could probably agree on that one. He's a dead man walking. It's sad. I wish he succeeded here. He didn't. He's gone at the end of the year, period. There is no chance that he comes back. Maybe if the Fertittas are willing to sign a $100 million check to the university, maybe he would come back. But other than that, he's gone. But I have a problem with saying the Lord wants me here. What the hell does that mean? The Lord wants me here. We're not talking about sitting in church. We're not talking about your wife giving birth. We're not talking about everybody around the Christmas tree during the holidays, a family get-together. We're talking about coaching a UNLV football team for the 5th year not being bowl eligible. JD, I'm not a very religious person. You know that. But why is he interjecting the Lord into his response about coaching here at UNLV? He knows he's gone at the end of the year. Francois knows he's gone at the end of the year. Why is he bringing this stuff up?
I just think he's grateful to be where he's at right now. And you're right. He honestly wasn't really set up for success. You can't take a coach from Bishop Gorman who really doesn't have a lot of competition. They consistently have the best players. They are the standard. You take them to a school like UNLV, who isn't in a position to pick up a lot of great recruits, and you force him to play in the type of games he never really had to coach in at Bishop Gorman because he was up by 30 half the time. You put him in a situation where he's down 10 or down 17 or it's tied at halftime and he has to make second half adjustments. A lot of those things that he needed to do at the college level to win games, he never had to do at the high school level. Mm-hmm. And so he had no experience with it at all. So he really wasn't put in a position for success. Now, I understand the Bishop Gorman, the Las Vegas connection, and the expectation was he could bring a lot of players like DeMarco Murray, who ended up going to Oklahoma from Bishop Gorman
we all agree,
to UNLV, and that didn't take place.
We all agree he's going to be gone, but what do you think about him bringing up the Lord into this conversation?
Again, I just think he's grateful to be where he's at. I mean, what else?
Why bring up God?
I'm not really going to look into what. I really don't care why he brought up God. It doesn't bother me at all.
It does bother me.
Okay, that's fine.
It actually bothers me when somebody hits a homer and then they point up to God, or they say, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for giving me the opportunity to play baseball. No, the reason why you're in the majors, the reason why you're in the NBA is because of your talent and because of your hard work.
Let's be honest. Tony Sanchez is making, what, $600,000 a year?
I guess you could thank the Lord for that.
Right now?
Yeah, I guess thank the Lord for that, yeah.
He's one of the highest state employees in the state of Nevada that isn't involved with a casino, I would imagine. So, I mean, you can't really fault the guy for being thankful for where he's at, considering he's probably made $3 or $4 million.
Okay, but that's not what he said, though.
Again, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think he's just grateful for where he's at, and I have no issue with that.
But he didn't say thank the Lord for let me be here for 4 years or give me an opportunity. He said, the Lord wants me to be here right now doing what I'm doing. I just don't understand that statement. Listen, there are a lot of fans that don't want him here now, right now, doing what he's doing. I'm sure there are a lot of people in the athletic department that don't want him here now doing what he's doing, but somehow the Lord wants him here, then I guess the Lord doesn't know anything about college football. I'm not trying to be facetious here. I just don't understand that statement. Now, listen, he's not forced to resign. I don't blame him for staying. I'm not going to fault him for staying. But don't tell me that the Lord wants you here. Don't come up with that garbage, because I'm sorry, I just don't like it. And to my knowledge, it's the first time he ever brought up the Lord into this conversation. But anyway, I just think it's inappropriate. I think it's wrong. I wish him the best, and yes, I'd say 99.9% there is no chance he is coming back for year 6. We're going to have a new football coach. We hope Francois makes a good hire and a good decision, and we're going to talk a little bit of UNLV basketball coming up in hour number 3 as they open the basketball season tonight, and we'll talk a little college hoops around the country. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I always talk about the racist witch, also known as Laura Ingraham on Fox News. She tells LeBron James to shut up and dribble. Well, she's not telling a bunch of the Washington Nationals players to shut up and play baseball. I'll explain what I mean by that coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Sunday nights, it's Steve Sanchez.
Wake the heck up.
Live from the undisclosed bunker studios with a Constitution in one hand and a Bible in the other. Sundays from 7 to 10 p.m. on News Talk 720 KDWN.
Dispatch, medevac air transport to I-90. Car on fire. Unknown casualties.
When minutes matter and the ER is too far away, air emergency care could save your life. But insurance companies don't count your minutes. They count your money. Tell your member of Congress to fight the insurance companies.
Paid for by Alliance for Access to Critical Care.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is
nutrition. The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Hey, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
The most published book in the history of man is the Bible. The second most published book is Euclid's Elements. Written 2,500 years ago, it is the same math that is taught in school today.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be. Hey, everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care. I want to share with you a story. I was driving to meet somebody for lunch in the Valley one day when I was stopped at a red light, hit from behind by a driver going around 40 miles an hour. My car was totaled. I suffered injuries. I needed help. I contacted Van Law Firm. Within a few days, I was getting the medical treatment I needed, and within 6 months, I received the maximum settlement. Give Van Law Firm a call, 702-500-HURT, for a free consultation. You pay nothing unless they win. It's the Van Law Firm. Call them, 702-500-HURT, and mention you heard it from the Vegas Take.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us on a Tuesday. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, Congresswoman Dina Titus. She sat on the impeachment inquiry panel, so she's going to give us some insight on what's going on there. I'm also going to ask her, because she was actually in the room when the Republicans stormed it. You remember that? And then they ordered a bunch of pizzas, like it was funny. So we'll talk to Dina Titus, Congresswoman, coming up here in just a few. But I talk a lot about Laura Ingraham, Fox News guy. I think she's just an awful human being. I would say the same thing about Tucker Carlson. There are some people on Fox News that I disagree with, but I think they are decent people. Laura Ingraham is not one of them. I think she hides behind her religion. She has said some awful racist things on her show. And, just in general, I just think she's a terrible person. And if you recall, this was not that long ago. It was within the last year. She didn't like some of the things LeBron James said about Donald Trump. Listen, I don't always agree with LeBron James. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't always agree with his language. But as you know, LeBron James is certainly anti-Donald Trump. So he made his statements on his show, on his reality show. And then Laura Ingraham goes on Fox News, and this is what she has to say.
Shut up and dribble.
Yeah, shut up and dribble, because she disagrees with him. But, Laura Ingraham has had many professional athletes on her show. She's had many musicians like Ted Nugent. Did she tell Ted Nugent to shut up and play the guitar and sing? Did she tell professional athletes, for example, did she tell Ryan Zimmerman, who was at the White House yesterday, who plays for the Washington Nationals, who just won a World Series, did she tell Ryan Zimmerman to shut up and swing a baseball bat? No, of course not, because she is an awful human being. So this is Ryan Zimmerman, who was at the White House, as I mentioned, with the Washington Nationals, praising Donald Trump. This was yesterday at the White House.
Mr. President, me and my teammates, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having us here. This is an incredible honor that I think all of us will never forget, and we'd also like to thank you for keeping everyone here safe in our country and continuing to make America the greatest country to live in the world.
All right, so here's, and by the way, Suzuki wore a MAGA hat and hugged Trump. Here's my opinion on this. I don't have a problem with anything Zimmerman said. Now, I disagree with him completely, and I have my reasons for that. But look, the guy just won a World Series. If he wants to get up there on a stage after he was invited by the president, I have no problem with him sharing his voices, just like I would have no problem with somebody from the Nationals getting up there and say, listen, I don't support you, Mr. President, but I appreciate the invite. Either or. I don't have a problem with what Zimmerman said, but the point I'm trying to make is for many of the conservatives and the people on the right that are out there, some of whom do radio shows, some of whom do TV shows, they don't have a problem with Ryan Zimmerman, right? They're not going to tell Ryan Zimmerman to shut up and play baseball. So why is it that the Laura Ingraham witches of the world decide if it's LeBron James or somebody in the NBA or whoever speaking out against Donald Trump, why do they tell them to shut up and dribble?
Did LeBron James do that from the White House?
No, he didn't do that from the White House.
Okay, where did he do it from?
It was his own television show, and he's in many interviews that he's done.
So he tried to intervene politically, whereas Ryan Zimmerman just praised the president.
Whoa.
No, whoa.
What do you mean intervene? What are you talking about?
He just decided to make a political comment, correct?
That's not intervening. He's just sharing his opinion. It's his own forum to do so.
Okay, fine. Well, Ryan Zimmerman did it in the president's lawn at the White House. It's a little different here. After accepting an invitation, after winning the World Series.
And I just said I don't have a problem
for
with
the
it.
first time in his life.
I just said I don't have a problem.
I'm telling you that's why Laura Ingraham didn't say anything like that. Now, if Ryan Zimmerman or even, let's say, Victor Robles, who is African American, say he decided to hold a press conference on his front lawn that wasn't in the White House, and he decided to attack the president, maybe Laura Ingraham would tell him to shut up and crow hop a baseball from right field. I don't know.
Which is ridiculous.
But that is why Laura Ingraham, and the fact that Ryan Zimmerman supports the president, obviously, and Laura Ingraham supports those who support the president.
Right, because she if she doesn't have it her way, and if somebody is saying something negative about the president, she tells them to shut up. You know? But here's where I disagree with you. Ryan Zimmerman was sharing his opinion. I guarantee you not everybody on that Nationals team that was invited shares Ryan's opinion. So we have Ryan Zimmerman sharing his opinion, and we have LeBron James sharing his opinion. Now, here's where I would say I agree to an extent with you. If, say, an NBA team was invited to the White House and LeBron James took the microphone and he just started bashing Donald Trump, I would call that inappropriate. But he wouldn't do that. He's already said he would never go to the White House. So that doesn't that has no bearing on what we're talking about.
This isn't Ryan Zimmerman in his basement at home making a Make America Great statement about or praising Donald Trump. It's Ryan Zimmerman in the at the White House.
So what's your point?
Accepting the invitation. So why would she say anything about that?
Here's why.
It's a totally different situation.
I thought I explained it. I'll explain it again. Laura Ingraham has invited many professional athletes on her show. Many. Okay? And those athletes and musicians agree with her in our pro-Trump. So she invites these people to come on a nationally televised show, The Witch Show, The Witch Racist Show. That's what it should be called.
Yeah, she's playing to her base is what she's doing.
Okay, playing to your base is fine.
It is fine.
But to tell
and it doesn't make her a witch.
Yes, it does. And I'll tell you why.
So playing to your base makes you a witch.
So let me ask you a question.
If you're a female.
You don't think it has anything to do with the fact...
That sounds sexist, Brian.
You don't think that it has anything to do with the... It's not sexist at all. You don't think it has anything to do with the fact that LeBron James is African American? Or what about Nipsey Hussle? A few weeks after Nipsey Hussle died, she probably didn't even know who Nipsey Hussle was. Okay, she listens to her country music every day, I'm sure. She doesn't know who Nipsey Hussle is. But a few weeks after Nipsey Hussle lost his life, and by the way, a man who did a lot for his community, who raised a lot of money for charity.
Brian,
let me finish. Hold on.
What
let
if
me
Laura
finish.
Ingram's favorite band was actually live?
Let me finish.
What would you do about that? Would you be shocked by that?
No bearing on what I'm talking about. Let me finish my thought.
And neither is assuming that she is a country music fan.
Okay. No bearing on what I'm talking about. Let me finish one. You know what? I'm not stereotyping.
I'll let you finish your stereotype.
I'm not stereotyping. I'm stating facts. And the fact is Nipsey Hussle died. Let me finish my statement.
The fact is Laura Ingraham may or may not be a country music fan.
Okay. Can I just explain to you? Okay, forget about the country comment. Just listen to what I'm saying here. Nipsey Hussle was brutally murdered. He lost his life. Okay, this was a man who did a lot for his community. She never brought up Nipsey Hussle before. The man was just buried 6 feet underneath the ground. And what does she decide to do on her show? She goes after his lyrics. Okay, his family members and friends are still grieving. Okay, LeBron James, an African American who is extremely successful, is anti-Trump. What does she decide to do? She decides to go after LeBron James and tell him to shut up and dribble. I'm sorry, but I see a pattern here. She has also talked about LeBron James and quoted as saying, must they speak like that? Must they? Now, who is she referring to when she sees they? She is referring to African Americans.
I think she is referring to athletes.
No, she was specifically talking about LeBron James. That's exactly the segment that I'm talking about. And we can get that audio. Must they speak like that? That's exactly what she said. And that is why I call her a racist. And she demonizes illegals on a nightly basis. A nightly basis. And she wants you to believe that every single illegal that crosses the border is a violent criminal that is going to kidnap your kids and perhaps rape your wife.
By the way, is it okay to demonize the illegals that just murdered 9 people?
We're not talking about the illegals that murdered 9 people. We're talking about that is a different subject.
Would it be okay to demonize them?
I will demonize anybody who commits a violent crime, whether they are illegal or not.
Two of which were 8-month-old babies.
I will demonize and I will go after anybody. Let me repeat that. Anybody that commits a violent crime, okay? Absolutely, 110%. But some of the shows on the air after 5 p.m. on Fox News, like the witch racist Laura Ingraham, want you to believe that every single illegal that crosses the border is a violent criminal when the stats do not support that ridiculous opinion. And I tie that into this situation with the Washington Nationals. And I'll say it again. I have no problem with Ryan Zimmerman. The guy just won the World Series. He's a heck of a baseball player. I have no problem with Suzuki wearing a Make America Great Again hat. They've earned that right to do that, and you can do that anywhere. You don't have to win the World Series to praise Donald Trump. I have no problem with that. I disagree with it, but you have the freedom to speak your mind. I would never tell Ryan Zimmerman to shut up and swing a baseball bat, but that is what some of these conservatives do. In fact, the spokesperson, the new media liaison, so to speak, for the White House a few months ago, say if you are a never-Trumper, you are a scumbag. That is what she said. That is a statement from the White House, that if you do not support Donald Trump and you're a never-Trumper, you're a scumbag.
Well, that sounds like fascism to me.
That's what she said.
Okay.
This is the PR lady, the new media liaison.
I have a large issue with someone saying that.
Okay, well, you know what? When Laura Ingraham tells LeBron James to shut up and dribble, it's very similar rhetoric, in my personal opinion. It's very similar. LeBron James has the right to speak out when he wants to. I don't always agree with him. I don't like the way the NBA handled the China situation, the Hong Kong-China situation. But you know what?
I mean, after what happened with the NBA in Hong Kong, I kind of agree with what Laura Ingram's statement. I mean, do you realize what he did with that?
You agree with Laura Ingram? Hold on a second.
Do you agree with? Do you realize what he actually did with that China situation?
Okay.
Because
this was before the China situation.
Okay,
she said that.
I agree, but because of money, he supported an oppressive government after attacking the president of the United States for being oppressive because it puts money in his pocket, because without the China TV deal, his salary goes lower.
And guess what?
That is scum of the earth.
Okay.
That is bottom of the barrel, Brian. Okay. And obviously he has no business making statements on politics after what happened there. Because then he goes and he attacks Daryl Morey, an MIT graduate who actually was the general manager while Yao Ming, the largest Chinese player in NBA basketball history, he was his general manager, so he understands it better than anybody else. And he attacks Daryl Morey, and he attacks his intelligence.
Okay, well,
so
let's go back to America
I have absolutely no issue whatsoever with LeBron James not talking about politics
so you're
ever
okay
again,
with,
considering those circumstances.
So you're okay with the shut up and dribble comment. Okay, so let me explain to you something about money. Let me respond to what you just said.
I wouldn't have been okay with it 2 months ago.
Well, I disagree.
But after what happened with China, I am absolutely okay with it under those circumstances.
Okay, well, I completely disagree with you. By the way, because of money is the statement that you're talking about. Let's talk about America for a second. When Tucker Carlson goes on Fox News, days after the Texas El Paso shooting, where 22 people lost their lives at the hands of a white supremacist, and he goes on the air. And he goes on the air and he says the idea of white supremacy is a lie. It basically doesn't exist. Now, I believe he says that for money. And I don't believe he actually believes that. I think he's talking to his viewers out there, many of them, sadly, who agree with him. When Laura Ingraham goes on her show and she goes after Nipsey Hussle, a very successful former African-American rap star who donated a ton of money to his community, who did so much for his community. But when she attacks an African-American rapper, I think there's a lot of viewers on Fox News that enjoy that. Some of them are racist. And you want to talk about for money, let's talk about the United States of America. What some of the policies of some of the people on the right are doing for money. Or some of the reasons why people on the right continue to say that the President of the United States did nothing wrong. As Donald Trump puts it, a perfect call with the Ukrainian president. And why are many of these politicians kissing his ass? Why are many of these politicians on the right not saying, hey, at the very least, this was a very inappropriate phone call. I disagree with it. I don't know if it reaches an impeachment, but it's wrong. Why are many of these people on the right not saying that? Why? Because they really believe that Donald Trump did nothing wrong? No, because of money. Because they put their position as a politician before what is right for the country. They want more money in their pocket.
And where does that come from?
So if you really,
that comes from a very divided United States of America, where the right wing follows one massive media situation and the left is the exact same. And it's all about ratings and viewership, and that translates to money.
Doesn't make it right, does it, though?
It's all about isolation.
Doesn't make it right.
Every single base is isolating their constituents right now.
Well, you know what? Listen.
That's all they're doing.
Listen.
They're getting paid huge. They're getting paid huge for it. But the thing is, let's say Trump doesn't win the presidency. Let's say Joe Biden wins it. All these, who actually start, I mean, with Donald Trump as president of the United States, 55% more of the United States is more concerned with politics than they ever were. With Joe Biden, that changed. I mean, what exactly is CNN wishing for? To drop the rating 60% by bringing somebody into the office that no one's going to follow because he doesn't make news every day because they don't care what he says?
We're up against a break here, but there is a way to be successful at your job, and there is a way to make money with being honest. And you know what? I'm not the king here. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from it. But I have never said anything on this radio show that I don't personally believe. And I understand that there are a lot of conservative shows on this station. I understand that there are a lot of shows that lean way to the right. I don't even think there's one show besides maybe a weekend show. I don't think anyone else does a show here that will go after the president and hold him accountable. But it doesn't stop me from doing it just because there are a lot of listeners that might be conservative. There is a way to be honest and be good at your job. There is a way to tell the truth, to not appease everybody and make everybody happy that listens to you. And I think that is very important, and it is sad that there are some hosts on Fox News that refuse to do that. Ryan Zimmerman, you could say whatever you want in front of the White House. Coming up next, we're going to be speaking with Nevada Rep. Congresswoman Dina Titus. She is in the middle of this impeachment debate, and we're going to ask her about it. Coming up next on the Vegas Take.
Why did members of a Mexican drug cartel ambush and murder 3 American women and 6 children? Correspondent Matt Rivers is in Mexico City, where authorities are pressing for answers.
They say over the past several months, they've noticed a lot more aggression from the cartels in that area because what they say is that the government has allowed them to operate with impunity. So they say it could be a target attack or it could be a case of mistaken identity.
Police are searching for a man who stabbed to death another customer in line at a Popeyes restaurant in Maryland. The 2 men got into a dispute waiting in line for a chicken sandwich when the fight was taken out into the parking lot. Voters in Mississippi and Kentucky will elect governors today. In Virginia and New Jersey, legislative seats are being decided. Many local elections on tap as well. A staffer on Tom Steyer's presidential campaign in South Carolina has resigned after getting volunteer data from Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Pardee Homes. Watch for slowing for the crash on the 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at I-15. Vehicles off to the right. Another crash on the Beltway eastbound at Jones off left. And up north, an accident on the 215 Northern Beltway eastbound near I-15. Vehicles again off to the left, still active. An accident with injury sustained reported Lamb north of Boulder Highway. Get smart by savings on move-in ready homes valley-wide from the high 200,000s at PardeeSmart.com. Pardee Homes is an equal opportunity housing builder. Nevada Contractors License Number 3633A. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
So there's this guy named Jordan, and he's a healthy guy. He's a dad of 6, and he works as a guide in Alaska. But then he goes to the doctor, and he's diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And here's the thing. He had switched from medical insurance to MediShare, which is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. So the question for Jordan and his wife Jenny was, is this really going to work?
Our medical bills exceeded $160,000. MediShare members shared all our bills.
And it was about more than just the money, too. This is a real community.
MediShare is a family, a group of people that stick with you through the hardest times of your life. I just don't know how I could have done it without MediShare.
It's so worth looking into. There's a reason this is growing so fast. If you want to find out more, here's a number for you. 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Hey, it's Lee Goldberg of the GCI guys at Realty One Group. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, rent, move from California? If so, give them my number, 702-902-3029. All listeners of the Vegas Take get a grand in your hand back at closing. Hometown heroes, veteran, military, police, teacher, nurse, I'm giving you $2,000 back. That also goes for hospitality and casino employees. Free use of a moving truck for a day, 6 free months of home security. Call me, 702-902-3029, the GCI guys.
So how's your boy doing in school? Not so good. His grades are getting worse, and all he does is play video games, and when I finally get him to do his homework, he says he doesn't understand it. Oh, that sounds like my daughter. Well, not anymore. What do you mean not anymore? My daughter started going to the Infinity Math Institute about 3 months ago. I sent her there as a punishment because she got an F in math. Boy, was she mad at me. But 1 week later, she was talking about how much she liked it. Now she has an A in math, and all her other grades have gone up too. Get out of here. That sounds too good to be true. I know, but it is true. When I went down there there to check it out. I couldn't believe how nice everything was and how everyone was so nice. I never knew anything like this even existed. I went to another tutoring place, and they were too expensive. It didn't help all that much. Infinity must be super expensive. That's the craziest thing. They're less expensive than any of the other places and so much more effective. You should call them. They even have scholarships for families with financial struggles. Tell them Sharp and Shapiro sent you for a discount. I will. What's their number? 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777, or you can visit them at themathinstitute.com. Don't get more math problems, get solutions.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON. 720 on the AM, 101.5 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON.
Sunday nights, it's Steve Sanchez.
Wake the heck up.
Live from the undisclosed bunker studios with a Constitution in one hand and a Bible in the other. Sundays from 7 to 10 p.m. on News Talk 720 KDWN.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in Saturday at 4 p.m. for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k. Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday afternoons at 4 on KDWN 101.5 FM and 720 AM.
The Vegas Strong Resiliency Center is a safe haven, a place for residents, visitors, and responders affected by the tragic events of the 1 October shooting incident. Staffed with compassionate professionals, services include victim advocacy and support, counseling referrals, and help accessing the FBI's Victim Assistance Services website. The center is located at 1524 Pinto Lane. It's open weekdays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. For more information, call 702-455-AID or 1-833-2998.
101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Tuesday. By the way, coming up in hour number 2, we'll be talking to Minister Stretch Sanders in regards to the homeless issue. But, you know, we've been talking about this impeachment inquiry every day. What does this mean for the President of the United States? Listen, we're not in Washington. We don't have the ins and outs of all what's going on. We just read our reports. But the woman we have with us on the line right now, she's done a great job here in the state of Nevada, and we've spoken with her before. And that would be Congresswoman Dina Titus, who was actually sat on the impeachment inquiry panel, and she joined us right now on the show. Congresswoman Dina Titus, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm fine, and I'm home for a few days for Veterans Day, so this is nice.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
We really appreciate you doing that. So let's start from square one, Dina, if that's okay. When you first read the transcript of this phone call between the President of the United States and the President of the Ukraine, what went through your mind?
Well, it laid it out pretty clearly when the President was quoted as saying, "But I need you to do us a favor, though." Now, it wasn't a direct transcript. It was a summary provided by the President, and he even left that line in there. So it was pretty damning. Then he kind of went on TV and acknowledged it and then asked China to intervene. And his chief of staff, Mulvaney, did the same thing and said, yeah, it's a quid pro quo, but it happens all the time, so get over it. So that's what really kicked off the major concern in the area of national security as a reason for impeachment.
Now, you have sat on this impeachment inquiry panel, and it's my understanding in Washington you were in the room when Republicans stormed in with their cell phones and then ordered pizzas, right? Can you please describe to me what it was like and what's going through your mind and some of your friends in that room when this went on?
Well, this is a secure room because the depositions are supposed to not be public at this point because they don't want the witnesses getting their stories straight before they come in to testify. Those depositions will be made public. In fact, some of the transcripts are already being released, and we will have public hearings starting very shortly. But those are in a secure room. In that room are members of 3 committees: Intelligence, Foreign Affairs, which is the one that I'm on, and Oversight. That includes both Democrats and Republicans. But the Republicans have found that they didn't have any defense for the actions of the president, so they first blamed the process, saying it should all be open. Of course, then when we had a vote to make it open, they voted no. But then they tried to just stage these antics. And one of them was rushing into the room as though they'd been kept out because they're in there. And then they carried their cell phones in there, which you're not supposed to do because it's a secure room. And then they wouldn't leave so the depositions could continue, and even ordered pizza. It was about the most childish thing I've ever seen, but it got the press's attention, and that was their objective.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it just seemed like a PR stunt. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Congresswoman Dina Titus, representing the state of Nevada. Okay, so Dina, many of the Republicans are saying that this has been done behind closed doors and that they haven't been able to be a part of it, so on and so forth. And, you know, I speak of the Benghazi process, you know, the 9 investigations run by Republicans, and it didn't seem like they had a problem with that. So what would you say to your Republican friends that claim that this process, it's not fair, it's unconstitutional? What would you say to that?
Well, if hypocrisy was a crime, half those people would be in jail. They certainly didn't mind doing it when they were in charge. And now, again, they just have to blame the process because they have no defense of the president's actions. And the fact of the matter is this process is the exact same way it has been done in the past with Nixon and in Clinton. Under Clinton's time, and we're following rules that were set when the Republicans were in charge under Boehner as the speaker. So that's just a false argument.
You know, Dina, you do so many great things to honor our veterans and our heroes, and that's why I want to ask you this question, because it makes me sick with the smear campaign that is going on with some people, even on Fox News. We were just talking about Laura Ingraham, who went after Vidman. This is a guy who won a Purple Heart. He risked his life for this country, and there are people on CNN and Fox News. Most of the people on CNN, you know, are obviously defending Vidman, but some people on the right that go on there as guests have gone after this guy. What would you say to some of your Republican friends that have actually tried to smear this man who is a war hero?
Well, it's disgusting. It's try to blame the messenger as opposed to what he's saying. He is a war hero, and he's dedicated his whole life to service of this country. And some of the other ambassadors that they've tried to discredit also have histories in the military, fighting in Vietnam and being decorated war heroes. These are people who put their lives on the line for this country. They're there testifying not because they're Democrats or Republicans, but because they care about the nation. And to have some of these people who have never even served in the military or got out because of bunions on their feet criticize these heroes, just everybody should be angry and offended by that.
You know, I'm also confused, upset, annoyed at the fact that so many are defying subpoenas. We had 4 people, right, Dina, that were supposed to be testifying yesterday. They don't show up. Have you ever seen this before, and what action can you take to make sure that these people have to abide by these subpoenas?
No, I've not seen it before. Certainly in the Clinton case, they abided by it. We are supposed to be a nation that is believes in the rule of law, and yet here they are just saying, well, we don't have to follow the rule of law. We are above the law, and nobody is above the law, even the president. I've issued subpoenas in the subcommittee, or the chairman did, the subcommittee that I chair, that's looking into the hotel, which we believe is a violation of the Emoluments Clause because he has all these foreign dignitaries come stay there trying to curry favor. And we've tried to get the records from the hotel. They won't give them to us either. So we fight it in court. The problem is that takes a long time, and often the judges are there because they were appointed by this administration. So it's just it's very frustrating, and I can see one of my constituents say, well, go arrest these people. I'd be arrested if I ignored a subpoena.
Yeah, I would say so would I. Congresswoman, you have a lot of insight. As I've mentioned, you've sat on this impeachment inquiry panel. What do you think is the biggest misconception with everything, and what would you like to see the media report on that maybe they haven't reported on, or maybe you have some information that you want people to know about this whole inquiry process, maybe some of the stuff that you can. I know some stuff you probably can't talk about, but what insight can you tell us? And is there a quid pro quo? Have you seen it? And, what insight can you give us that maybe our listeners would be interested in hearing?
I think the problem is that it's gotten very complicated. You had the Mueller report that looked at collusion. That's a difficult term to define and understand through the legal system. You have emolument clause. That's not something that people are familiar with. When you say bribe, they get that. But I think what we need to do is just boil it down to simple terms. The president withheld money appropriated by Congress to a foreign ally fighting against a foreign enemy, and he did that trying to persuade the Ukrainians to intervene in our election by investigating one of his opponents. He used federal money to try to influence the government to help himself personally. That is the bottom line. You can cut through all the testimony, all the talking heads, all the coverage, all the legalese, and that's the bottom line. And that jeopardizes our national security, and it just doesn't get any worse than that.
Congresswoman, is there any difference between a potential opponent for Donald Trump? Because Joe Biden has not won the Democratic nominee yet. But would it be a worse situation for Trump if this were to take place, let's say 6 months down the road when Biden has become the Democratic nominee? How would that change the circumstances?
Well, I think that it's better if we just wrap it up sooner rather than later so that it doesn't just become part of the campaign. We want to do this in a very deliberative, very legal, very precise way, get it done, not just have it get caught up in the political campaigning, regardless of who the president's opponent is. It'll come up during the campaign without question, and I'm confident that he will be impeached by the House. Then we'll see what the Senate does.
For just joining us, we're speaking with Congresswoman Dina Titus, who has sat on the impeachment inquiry panel in regards to the President of the United States and this issue with the President of the Ukraine. Okay, here's another topic that I want to bring up with you, Dina. It involves the whistleblower. The President, every single day, the President seems to say time and time again, he wants the name of this whistleblower, when the laws don't work that way. There are laws that are specifically put in place by Republicans and Democrats that say, no, this whistleblower's identity needs to be protected. Now, I seem to think, Dina, that eventually, sadly, we're probably going to find out who this person is. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope I'm wrong. But the president seems to pushing forth this narrative that we all need to know and we all need to push. I mean, I think this is so dangerous for the country. What do you say to this?
Well, it is. It's dangerous for the individual who is the whistleblower because he'll get a lot, or she will get a lot of threats now. But it's dangerous for the future because that means that people who see something wrong happening will be hesitant to come forward. And that's why whistleblower laws were put in place to start with, that you want people who see something wrong to feel secure enough to report it so that you can correct mistakes or go after somebody legally or whatever the wrong is. But if they don't feel safe, they won't come forward, and you'll never know what's going on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. The president is just obsessed with this. He can't stand it, and it's fanned, of course, by Fox News. They keep on about it. They don't seem to really care about the safety of the whistleblower or the sanctity of this privilege going forward.
Okay, let's say that Donald Trump's tax returns are uncovered, and we find out that he has some major loans with Russian banks that Vladimir Putin has an interest in. How would that have an effect on the current impeachment inquiry, or would there be an entirely new one opened up?
Well, it could be an additional charge. Right now, the inquiry is focused on the Ukrainian situation, and also you're building a charge of obstruction of justice because every time he ignores a subpoena or refuses to send information, that's one additional check in that box. And remember, obstruction of justice was one of the charges against Nixon. The investigations into his taxes will go forward, and that may become a charge, just like the investigation into the hotel and the Emoluments Clause will go forward. But the main thrust right now is Ukraine, because that is national security. It's easy to understand, and it is just, there's such damning evidence. After the first person came and testified, every other person who's been in there, and you've seen some of the public transcripts, has not added anything really new, but has added details that corroborate what the president said himself, which is, I need a favor, though. If that's not quid pro quo, I don't know what is.
That's true. I tend to
agree. You know what? You don't have to have quid pro quo to make it legal.
Exactly.
You ask for help, but that's illegal, too.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right, and that's important to note. Okay, Congresswoman, obviously your opinion matters. Now, I've spoken to Democrats. Some are not sure if the president will be impeached. I've spoken to some Republicans, and they say this could be the end of Donald Trump. So let me ask you this question, and maybe it's not a simple one, but you would know more than anyone in being on this impeachment inquiry panel. With all the evidence that you have, with everything that you know right now, would you say, in your personal opinion, that you believe in 2020 the president will no longer be the president and he will not be running for office again?
I believe so. I think there is enough evidence there that shows that he has violated his oath of office to be president. He has certainly not behaved in a presidential way that we have ever seen in the past, and it's obvious that he just uses his office for his own personal gain.
Yeah.
I do not believe he will serve a second term.
Anybody that you're supporting for president right now?
Well, a lot of the candidates are coming through, of course, because we're first in the West with our caucus, and it's flattering that they want my endorsement, but I haven't come out for anyone just yet.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. So last question for you, Dina, and by the way, we really do appreciate your time. We're going to be talking about the homeless issue. Obviously, there's a homeless issue throughout the country, but certainly here in Las Vegas and Nevada. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Mayor Carolyn Goodman putting a new ordinance in where that if you are sleeping on the streets and you are homeless and you can't find a shelter, you can be fined up to $1,000 and go to jail. I wanted to get your thoughts on that and your opinions on that because we have a special guest coming up next segment. We're going to ask about that. What are your thoughts on the homeless issue in general? And do you think that Mayor Goodman is making the right decision in putting that on the books?
Well, I've supported some legislation at the national level to provide funding to help the homeless, and we often work with Catholic charities in this effort because that the village that they've created is in District 1 right here in the heart of the valley. I think the best way to get to homelessness, and I'm not going to try to second-guess the mayor because she wants to clean up Las Vegas. I understand that sentiment. But I think you've got to get to the root causes. You can't just give somebody a shower today and expect they won't be homeless tomorrow. You've got to really look at finding a place people can stay, helping them to be trained for another job, treating their mental illness problems, drug or alcohol abuse. Veterans, we should have zero veterans homeless. That is just inexcusable.
Totally agree with
but
that.
That takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time. Right. It's not an easy thing to do. But I know there are a number of groups that are working together on it, and I don't know how you can fine a homeless person $1,000 when they're homeless. That's not going to have that
Exactly,
money.
And you could also make the argument that it could be more money for the taxpayer if you go to jail.
Is there even enough room in the jails in Clark County to make that work?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, that is a good question. And I know that the county recently passed some kind of ordinance to help deal with the homeless too. You need wraparound services, so it's going to take public and private and all levels of government working together. And Las Vegas is a place where homeless kind of end up because the weather is conducive to it, and you can get food fairly cheaply, and it's going to be a growing problem, not a decreasing one if we don't get a handle on it.
Yeah, no question. Well, Congresswoman, have a lot of respect for you and the good things that you've done for the state of Nevada. You've done a fantastic job. We really do appreciate your time in joining us today, and we hope down the road as this continues, because this story is not going away, we would love to have you on again sometime soon. We really do appreciate your time, Dina. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to doing it again.
Thank you, Dina. Appreciate that. Congresswoman Dina Titus joining us. That is a lot of insight that she just gave us. And look, you could say to yourself, well, listen, she's a Democrat, so of course she wants Trump ousted. But I'm going to tell you something. There are a lot of Democrats that would not say what she just said. There are a lot of Democrats that are not on this impeachment inquiry panel.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone openly say that Donald Trump will not be even running for president in 2020.
And she made it very clear. She did not mince words there, right? She made it very clear.
And she was pretty confident about it.
Well, you know what? She's on the panel. She's heard from many witnesses. She has some information that the general public, even some Republicans, maybe do not have or not privy to. And she did sound like she was pretty defiant in her thinking that Donald Trump will most likely not be the president in 2020. Now, what does that mean for the country? Look, let's be very clear on this one. In the first day that Donald Trump took office, I wanted him to succeed. In fact, believe it or not, I still want him to succeed. But sadly, it's not working out very well. Now, you could say unemployment numbers are down. You could say the economy is booming. Yes, there are some positives to his presidency, but it doesn't excuse his behavior. It doesn't excuse asking a foreign entity, holding aid, and asking a foreign entity for dirt on a political opponent. That's the problem I have with many people that will make the argument, oh, he's doing so wonderful. The country's doing great. The economy's great. This is great. Look, everything.
So if you are a major trader and you have a bunch of money in the stock market, and your holdings are as high as they've ever been in your entire life, and you're able to provide whatever you want to your family. Say you've got 5 kids. You are more concerned with Donald Trump asking another foreign leader for assistance
I'll make it easier for you.
In a possible nominee, and not even the guaranteed Democratic, but it's his possible opponent.
I'll make it easier
in the
for
2020 election. Then you are your own interests.
I'll simplify it.
Are you being serious right now?
We are talking about our own interests, and I'll simplify it for you. Let's just say the president made me $1 billion because of his policies that were put in place. It still would not excuse his behavior. It still would not exclude putting his own campaign and himself before the country. And make no mistake about it, when you withhold money to a foreign country in exchange in trying to get dirt on a political opponent, he is putting himself before the country. JD, that is why it is against the law. It is called abuse of power. And by the way, I heard yesterday on one of the shows, this is just one phone call. The Mooch, Scaramucci, made a great point last night. He said, look, this is just one phone call. There's probably other phone calls. He's spoken to what? Possibly 300 other world leaders? You're saying this is the only phone call where this took place? I don't buy it.
And you think Donald Trump is the only president in the last 30 or 40 years to negotiate with a foreign power, with a foreign leader?
Here's my answer to that. Whether that is a yes or a no, they're not in office anymore.
Just answer
Donald
the question.
Trump is in office.
You
I don't know the answer to that.
You don't think that George Bush, Barack Obama,
I don't know.
Ronald Reagan
I don't know.
had any type of conversations involving negotiations, creating a compromise
Here's why your question is not
a foreign leader?
Here's why your question to me isn't valid. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because if the answer is yes or no, it doesn't change what Donald Trump did, and it doesn't change my opinions. Now, if you want me to answer, yeah. Sadly,
yeah,
probably,
exactly.
But I need proof.
It's kind of a requirement, I would imagine.
But I'm not going to sit here. Look, do you know how many Republicans out there wanted Obama out of office? Last I checked, there wasn't an impeachment inquiry. There wasn't evidence to support it. Do you know there were 9 investigations into Benghazi? 9 investigations, and we got to take a break. They found nothing. Those were closed-door sessions. The Democrats were left out of it. And 9 investigations, tons of money, taxpayer money. They found nothing. I guarantee you this is going to be a different outcome, and I agree with the Congresswoman, and we will see what happens, and we will continue to monitor the discussion. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the homeless issue in Las Vegas. Minister Stretch Sanders joining us in studio next, and we'll take your phone calls at 257-5396. Take a break. Be back right after this.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Are you ready for a whole new way of doing business? The Human Resources Game Changer is here. Hello, friends. Jim Nance letting you know that Insperity has put down roots in Las Vegas, bringing you a different kind of HR service. Human resource expertise, employee benefits, HR software. Insperity will redefine everything you thought you knew about an HR company. Get to know Insperity Vegas, because finally the HR Game Changer is here. Visit Insperity.com to find out more.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson
host of Sports X Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's Sports X Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and listen to us deliver timely, balanced truths about our market right here in Southern Nevada. You know, there's nothing that I enjoy more than educating our listeners about real estate, except maybe a well-prepared Reuben sandwich where the corned beef is really lean. Sorry, I digress. But please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
Hey, are you ready to quit smoking? There's a free Nevada resource here to help you. Just call 1-800-QUIT-NOW from a Nevada area code.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Grisly killings, white powder scare. I'm Mike Moss.
And as of this point, it's not over. We still don't know what's going to happen next.
The family of an American Mormon sect living in Mexico is stunned and shattered after thugs from a Mexican drug cartel ambushed them on a highway, killing 6 children and 3 women.
It's not just got caught in gunfire in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is a whole new level of cartel violence.
Correspondent Matt Rivers says the cartel violence has been increasing of late.
They say over the past several months they've noticed a lot more aggression from the cartels in that area because what they say is that the government has allowed them to operate with impunity. So they say it could be a target attack or it could be a case of mistaken identity.
Federal officials are investigating a mysterious package containing a white powder sent to a Southern California field office of former Representative Katie Hill.
Hill resigned from Congress last week amid accusations of ethics violations. The package under investigation was received at Hill's Palmdale office, about 60 miles north of Los Angeles. It's part of the 25th Congressional District, which also includes Santa Clarita and parts of San Fernando and Ventura counties. One employee complained of eye irritation, but tests concluded that the powder-like substance was non-hazardous. The FBI is now leading the investigation. The 32-year-old Hill has been accused of having an affair with a staff member and blames her husband for releasing nude photos of her. Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
Across the nation, it's Election Day 2019. Mississippi and Kentucky are voting for governor. Legislative seats are on the ballot in Virginia and New Jersey. The impeachment inquiry is asking acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney to appear. There were more no-shows today as a growing number of administration officials are defying impeachment subpoenas from House Democrats. On Wall Street, stocks are mixed right now. The Dow up 55, the S&P down 1 point. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Pardee Homes. Watch for slowing for the crash on the 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at I-15. Vehicles off to the right. Another crash on the Beltway eastbound at Jones off left. And up north, an accident on the 215 Northern Beltway eastbound near I-15. Vehicles again off to the left, still active. An accident with injury sustained reported Lamb north of Boulder Highway. Get smart by savings on move-in ready homes valley-wide from the high 200,000s at PardeeSmart.com. Pardee Homes is an equal opportunity housing builder. Nevada Contractors License Number 3633A. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Blue Emu Lidocaine Cream and Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Cream both are deep penetrating and odor-free. Beat the pain 2 ways and live life. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
Tuscany Suites and Casino is the place for locals to go. Every Thursday, Tuscany celebrates their seniors with the 50-50 Club. Club members get 10 and 6 times multipliers just for playing their favorite games. And if you're not a member of the 50-50 Club, you can still come take advantage of 11 and 7 times multipliers on Mondays and Wednesdays. Free coffee for 50-50 Club members and 20% off at Tuscany Gardens. For more information, go to TuscanyLV.com or visit the Players Club. Tuscany Suites and Casino, where parking is always free.
I feel great, the kind of great you feel when you luck into a parking spot right up front. The kind of great when you score one of those jumbo-sized candy bars at Trick or Treat. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress, and you can feel great too. Here's how. Right now at the Best Mattress Veterans Day sale, save up to $800 on the brands you know and trust. Serta, Sealy, Beautyrest, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. And 72 months no interest financing. Feeling great already, aren't you? Best Mattress, home of the 120-day Sleep Easy Guarantee. See store for details.
Hi, I'm Raymond Denon, Vice President of Optima Tax Relief. If you're in debt to the IRS, there's a lot you need to know. Starting with rule number 1, don't mess with the IRS. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even take your home or business. That's all true. But it's also true that there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like us, the experts at Optima Tax Relief. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for our clients. We'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima for a free consultation.
Call 800-592-9422. 800-592-9422. 800-592-9422.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey guys, hear what the kids are saying about Infinity, the Math Institute.
Going to Infinity is a lot different than school because the faculty and staff in Infinity are a lot more one-to-one on you. They don't just care about getting the work done. They're about trying to change your life.
So before I went to Infinity, I had an F. I now have a B+, so it really helped me a lot with math. I like going to school now because it's easier for me. It's like not a struggle.
Infinity is a place where you learn new techniques, not only for math, but for life as well. It's also a great place to meet new people and make a lot of different friends who share the same qualities as you, and you just get a whole new experience.
It's different because if they have like questions or problems, you can talk to someone if you need that help.
Call Infinity, the Math Institute at 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. Infinity, the Math Institute. Don't get more math problems, get solutions.
Sunday nights, it's Steve Sanchez.
Wake the heck up.
Live from the undisclosed bunker studios with a Constitution in one hand and a Bible in the other. Sundays from 7 to 10 p.m. on News Talk 720 KDWN.
Amid Las Vegas's glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org.
720 on the AM, 101.5 FM.
Yeah, now on FM.
The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. Rolling out hour number 2. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us. Interesting conversation with Congresswoman Dina Titus. We're going to post that Of course, on our Vegas Take YouTube page. We're, by the way, we are broadcasting live on YouTube if you want to check that out. But we always post all of our segments on our SoundCloud page and Twitter as well. So there's always a lot of great topics to talk about, some interesting topics to talk about with Minister Stretch Sanders, who now joins us in studio. Stretch, thank you so much for being here as always. How are you?
Bless you guys. Power to the people. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Always appreciate it.
What's
when you
up,
come in.
Stretch?
So I want to get to the homeless issue, and why don't we get right to it to start, because you said you take issue with something Dina Titus said in the last segment. And obviously what we're talking about is a new ordinance that is being put in place by Mayor Carolyn Goodman. I almost said Oscar Goodman there for a second. Carolyn Goodman. Whereas if you're homeless and you don't have access to be able to go into one of these shelters, and many of them are full from my understand, you can fine one of these people that are homeless up to $1,000. I've never met anyone that's homeless that has $1,000 to their name, and they can go to jail. So tell me where you disagree with Dina Titus, because we just had her on last segment.
So with all respect, I disagree with Dina Titus because she made a statement saying she believes that the mayor is trying to clean up the city. I disagree. I think that even if that may be true, how she's going about it is dead wrong. I believe that good intentions can still offend. I think that Mayor Goodman and the city council are putting things in place that is literally criminalizing the poor. It's literally putting people in poverty in a position that they're going to get locked up. Some may say, okay, well, if they go to jail, they got 3 meals, they get a shower. Yeah, but they're also putting themselves in a cage. They're also putting a record on their name. So that's not the solution. And so I think that everything else Dina Titus said, I kind of was listening, but I think the thing that really struck me the most was how she kind of refused to criticize and refused to hold the mayor and the city council accountable. She's in a form of leadership like the city council. And I think the problem in today's society is that we have an issue with wanting to criticize those in leadership, our counterparts, our peers, our colleagues. If an injustice is taking place, you must speak on that issue. And just because you want to remain and have that relationship, you can still do that. I have no problem against Dina Titus as a person or her position. Same thing with the mayor. It's not personal, but when I see people who are on the street who are literally facing jail time, facing misdemeanors, which can eventually become felonies,
right?
I don't care how you get offended. I don't care what feathers I ruffle. I don't care who I irritate or piss off, because at the end of the day, if we claim that we love humanity and love people of goodwill, you use your voice and your platform to speak on righteousness if it means being blackballed, chastised, or consequences come your direction.
And listen, I don't want to say that an opinion doesn't matter when it comes to anyone, but you certainly have a lot of credibility when it comes to this issue. And the reason why I bring this up is because you do a lot to help the homeless. And I want to talk about some of these events that you have coming up. Homes Not Handcuffs. There's a rally that's going to be taking place tomorrow, right, at 8:30 a.m., a press conference. And then the city council meeting starts at 9 a.m. You're going to be there. You want people to come out and be heard when it comes to this homeless issue. And then you have the 4th annual Thanksgiving with the people, free people's dinner and giveaway. You're going to have some music there, and you're just helping people that are in need. And I think you're doing some great things. So that's why. And again, I'm not trying to say others, that have opinions are not valid. I'm just saying that you have a lot of credibility when it comes to this issue because you've actually taken some action to help people, and we appreciate you doing that. You do a lot for this community. JD, you wanted to add something to this. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask you if you knew how many, and you, Brian, Stretch, either or, if you know how many jails are actually in Las Vegas.
I think it's 2, right?
Yeah, there are several jails in Las Vegas. Obviously, there's not enough room to be able to put every single homeless person on the streets there.
If you drive north on the Strip, let's say 6 blocks past the Stratosphere, there is a entire community, a homeless community.
Yeah, there's tents everywhere.
I mean, there's probably, 1,000? Maybe 1,000 homeless there. How do say you go through and you arrest every single one of those people for being homeless? Where do you put them? And again, if you put them in jail, I get the premise, but isn't there a cost associated through the state by having someone in jail on a per day basis?
I'm not too sure about that. I do believe that this is a scare tactic. Can't get everybody in jail, but there are some who will say, okay, well, I'll just do this, or I'll just go in the park, opposed to, what we are missing is that I speak to those who are without homes, and they tell me, Stretch, it's just not safe in a lot of those shelters. And on the other side of the coin, there's a waiting list. Once you get in, you have to wait another amount of days to get back in. The parks are not safe because the police are harassing them. People are harassing them. We have been trained and conditioned to just totally disrespect those who are on the street. We don't see them as human. That's why we call them homeless.
Let me ask you about that. So you've said some things that could be considered controversial on this show, right? You've made some statements. I don't agree with everything you've said. I agree with a lot of what you said, but not everything. You've said that you believe the majority of police officers are racist. I don't agree with you when it comes to that. You've made some statements that you believe if you're a white police officer, you should get extra training before working into a community with minorities. I don't agree with you with that statement. So let me ask you this when it comes to the homeless. Do you believe that if many of these homeless people were not minorities, that this law or this ordinance that the mayor is putting into place would not be in effect? Do you think the color of one's skin is the reason why homeless people are treated the way they are treated?
No, with our homes issue, it's a classism issue. It's not really based on race. Now, I will say that once the officers get out there and mistreating people, there may be some officers who may start mistreating people, being a little more violent based on race. But typically, in a situation like people all in tents and all on the street, they can care less about all of them because they don't see anybody for their race. They don't see any color. They see somebody who is really a throwaway. You're a bum. You're a hobo. You're homeless, quote unquote.
You're a derelict.
So they don't see human life, and that's the problem. Is that we do not see those without homes as people. So it's easy to say give them fines. I've been in meetings with those who are in leadership if you had your eyes closed, you would think, or let's say walked in the meeting late and closed your eyes, you would think they were talking about roaches.
Okay, but listen.
The lady used the word infestation.
But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want 100 or 200 or 1,000 or even one homeless person sleeping outside my place. Now, am I saddened for them? Do I wish they weren't in that situation? Absolutely. I think every case is different. But am I a bad person or am I a selfish person because I say I don't want homeless people setting up shop right outside of my place of residence? Does that make me a bad person?
You're not a bad person, but if you are saying all that and don't have solutions, you are a bad person. The old saying goes, either you are part of the problem, you're part of the solution. And I believe that if we're going to have criticism, our contribution has to overpower our criticism to the people, or silence must be our position.
Mental illness, drug addiction, substance abuse. To me, that is the majority of the reasons why many of these people are in the situations that they're in. Now, some people
maybe nationally, but in Las Vegas, you have to consider gambling addiction. Gambling addiction is a large part of that in Las Vegas.
But let's look at this. We're quick to say, okay, people are on the street because they want to be there, or people that got on drugs, or they gambled their home, or they smoked crack, or they did something. It was basically saying it's a choice. My proposal and question to the people is, when are we going to start looking at what causes that? What makes somebody say, I want to be out here on the street? That's a mental issue.
You're not going to like my answer.
What makes somebody have to drink and smoke drugs to cope with pain? So we have to get to the root of the problem.
You're not going to like my answer, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of it is personal decisions that one has made in their life. Yes, you could make the argument that mental illness is not their fault, and I would agree with that. But I personally believe the majority of homeless people that are out on the streets are there because of personal responsibility and personal decisions that they decided to make. I really
once
believe
again,
that.
when you say personal, what causes that person who has a personal choice, what puts them in that condition to do that?
Perhaps they chose alcohol or drugs over their job. Perhaps they quit their job. Perhaps they got fired from their job.
That entire mentality is a victim mentality. It's just a losing mentality. It's suggesting that they don't control their own destiny.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, but I'm saying when you're saying that something else, some outside influence is causing them to make those type of decisions.
It could be construed as an excuse.
It's saying that they don't have the ability to make their own decisions.
I think that it's something called compassion and empathy, and you understand that people have all had stories and been in positions that unfortunately have turned them into things that's lower than themselves.
Some of those people, I agree with you. But what would you say to somebody?
All of them.
Okay, but what would you say to someone that keeps getting another chance and another chance, doesn't decide to get help, decides that methamphetamines is more important to them than getting a job, or decides, no, I don't want a $9 or an $8 an hour job. I want to continue to live on the streets. I want to continue to get free handouts. In no way, shape, or form am I saying all of these homeless people are like that. But you have to admit there are some circumstances where people do not want to work, and they would rather do drugs and drink than to actually be a member of society, a working member of society. What do we do with people like that? Because I can tell you right now, I've seen it. There are people that refuse to get help. There are people that would rather live their lifestyle of drugs and alcohol than actually work for a living and get a job.
Dr. King said, he quoted Victor Hugo, he said, wherever darkness is, crimes will be committed. I believe that can be the same thing applied to it comes with those who are saying, I'd rather give up my life. I'd rather give up my job and be on the street. I'd rather stay on drugs. Darkness was put on them for them to speak that type of death out of their mouth. Who, what, how has that darkness been created? So yes, I agree. There has to be personal accountability. Mm-hmm. But the Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he." So when you think something, you behave it, you do it. When we think bad thoughts, what has caused that mindset? What's caused that mentality? When women are on the street having their cycle on the street, mm-hmm. you think you're not going to develop some mental health issues? I talked to women who said they've been raped on the street. Mm-hmm. So when you're in another room or in a tent and you hear somebody being raped, how does that affect your psyche? And so at the end of the day, there are so many issues that create. If you don't have mental health issues, when you get on that street, you will. Just like people who go to prison and they're in solitary confinement for 2-3 months, they come out talking to themselves. So we have to understand that these conditions are creating those to accept being on the street. A lot of our people on the street, 72% in Las Vegas are veterans. They go to war and they see things and they don't get the right treatment, and so they're on the street.
That needs to be addressed.
So we have to address that. For every action, there's a reaction.
I don't disagree with you there, and that's very sad.
There was one specific president in the last decade who was very, very not helpful towards veterans of the United States military, and it was Barack Obama.
Well, I'm not going to blame Barack Obama for the homeless crisis in this country. I think there's blame to go around to a lot of different people.
I blame the human family. I blame all of us. I think that we have to, and I can't just put it on Mayor Carolyn Goodman, because if you take Mayor Goodman and the city council out and put another group in, they may do the same thing. It's a mentality that we all have, and that mentality is we do not see the value in somebody who's on the street. Once they're on the street, they're not black, they're not Native American, they're not Hispanic, they're not a man, they're not a woman. They're a homeless person, and the word homeless in itself is an attack on the people, because what it does is it strips you. And if a person's throwing rocks at the building, we're going to say there's a homeless person outside. They don't have a gender or race.
You could say gypsy, Jezebel, vagrant, derelict, homeless.
There's a lot of different.
There's so many words you could use.
There's a lot of different words.
What word would you use?
But we all forget. Well, if I have to, I use people without homes. People understand who I'm talking about. But in regular conversation, I say a person, a brother. I may say less fortunate depending on the event I'm doing, but I try not to use terms that's putting labels on them.
And I
because we don't
that.
respect homeless. We don't respect them. If a man comes in here
people
right now,
need some help.
Thank you.
People that need some help.
If a man come in right now who's quote unquote homeless, we're not gonna want to shake his hand. We're not gonna want to hug him. We're gonna treat him like he's a bug or a roach. When I go out there and serve people who are without homes, I hug on them. I love on them, because I believe that we all have hit hard times. Even those who told me, Stretcher, this is my end all be all. I know they're only saying that because they've lost hope. They're only saying that because darkness is on them. They're only saying that because their minds have been reversed inside out.
Let me just give out the number real quick. We're joined by the minister, Stretch Sanders, and now's a good time if you want to call in, if you have a comment or question in regards to this. Let's give us a call right here, 702-257-5396. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of this conversation, that would be 257-5396.
Do you honestly, I'm looking you square in the eyes right now, do you honestly wash your hands after you have those type of engagements?
Yes, but I wash my hands because that's just.
I don't think we should attack him for that.
No, I'm absolutely not.
I would do this. I would take a shower.
But I also wash my hands. But I also wash my hands on folks who look clean. Everybody that's clean ain't clean. Everybody that dress good. That's why I treat everybody the same.
Right.
It's people who can look good. They don't even shower. Mm-hmm. So I treat everybody the same. Of course, for health safety reasons, somebody who's on the street, yes, I do have to be a little more conscious of that. But I'm never gonna make them feel bad. Because I believe that when you give somebody genuine love and teach them who they are and what they are, they can rise out of that condition. Majority of people who are in poverty have lost hope. Right. And so therefore they're not making smart choices because they have just accepted the conditions that are around them. So we have to teach, brother, you better than this, opposed to saying, I'm not going to give you money, I'll give you food because you may buy drugs. No, figure out why they doing drugs.
Sure.
Why do you have to get high? I've never smoked weed or drank in my life. And this is when I was in my former self, because I was always on a natural high. So let's tap into their greatness and figure out, why do you think you need to cope with pain? Was you molested? Let's get some therapy. Was you abused? So these people are hurting. We all hurting. Well, and we need to be treated properly.
We're going to talk to somebody right now who just called in. He lost his job and he was homeless for a while. Number to call, by the way, 257-5396. Mike, thanks for calling in. Why don't you tell us your story?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, how's it going, guys? real quick in a nutshell, I take issue really big time with these politicians who always throw it on Catholic charities. I moved out to Vegas like 12 years ago, and I went to work for Steve Wynn at his 2 nightclubs. I don't know if you guys were familiar with the clubs.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. I had a very good job. I was making a lot of money, very good tips, and this went on for 10 years, okay? I was never homeless in my life. I always did the right thing. I always had a roof over my head. And what happened was, after the 10th year of working at the Wynn, I was approached by a new supervisor there that told me I had to share my tips with other workers in the nightclub. And for 10 years, it's all about customer service. You guys know this. You're from Vegas. Steve Wynn, everything was customer service. So if you did good customer service with the patrons, you got good tips. If the other guys did a lousy job, that was on them, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the bottom line was I was approached, and I refused to sign a document that I was going to share my tips with the other people. And the bottom line was, it's a long story, but the bottom line was I wanted to lose my job. I went to the culinary. I was in the culinary union. I lost my job. And
how long were you on the streets?
What happened?
How long were you on the streets? How long were you homeless?
I am on the street right now.
You are homeless right now. Oh, my goodness.
As of right now, I'm homeless. And what happened was about a year ago, I went into a spiral. And, it's not only drugs. I don't do drugs. I never did drugs. I'm not a big drinker. My problem was gambling. Okay. I'm a pretty, degenerate gambler. And what happened was I lost everything I owned. Everything. I lost everything. One day I woke up and I had nowhere to go. So you know what? My next move was I started, I'm from back east. I'm from New York. I was asking friends, Western Union me money, Western Union me this, that, and I was gambling. The bottom line was one day I had nowhere to go and no money. So you know what they told me? Let's go to this Catholic Charities. If you look at their website, they got a beautiful website. They take some poor soul that's homeless. They give them new clothes. They clean them up, and they take a photo op with them. And that goes on the website.
And that doesn't help. It doesn't help you for more than a day. Okay, so let me ask you this, Mike. And by the way, I'm sorry for your situation. I have a 2-part question. First of all, where are you living right now? You don't have to give us the exact location, but
No. I'm sleeping right now in the back of a church on a piece of cardboard that, matter of fact, there's other homeless people, that word homeless. I agree with the term.
How do you have a cell phone?
I can't, huh?
How do you have a cell phone? How are you listening to our show?
Right now, this is a phone that was given to me.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
But look, the bottom line is I didn't know nothing how to survive out here in the streets. So you know what? There's other people, that have been homeless for years. Mm-hmm. And, there's another issue. I really think, in my personal opinion, a lot of it does have to do with mental issues, because I say 60% of the people that I met out in the street, they collect Social Security disability. They're getting checks every month for like $1,500, and they choose to be out in the street. It's a sad issue. But listen, before I hang up, Brian, I just want to.
No, I got a question for you, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike. Finish your statement real quick.
No, I just wanted to get this out. This is my main reason for calling. I went to Catholic Charities, okay? And you talk about a hellhole. I walked up in there my first night, guys. My first night, I laid on a bunk because I tried to get in the shower, and there were people in that shower that were coming off the street like that were there for months. There were filthy, stained underwears on the floor. There was urine. There was feces. I don't want to get into that, but I woke up. I tried to sleep on a bunk, and the next day I walked out of that place. My arms looked like I had the measles because I was eating up my bed bugs.
Mike, I'll tell you, Mike. I want to. We're going to take down your information. And I want to continue this conversation with you at another time. I'm really glad that you're listening to us. I'm really glad that you called in. I'm sorry about your situation, but and we have about 30 seconds here, and we got to go to break.
Mike, I'm going to contact you and help you get some resources. And so I'll give you a call today, and we try to get you situated.
Okay, good. We're going to take Mike's number down, and Stretch is going to do what he can to help you. I want to discuss that conversation we just had, and we have other people on the line that we're going to talk on the other side of the break. The number is 702-257-5396. Wow, that was powerful stuff. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of this conversation, now would be the time to do it. We have a few phone lines that are open. That's 702-257-5396. I promise I will get to all of you on hold on the other side of the break. Also, Michelle Obama making some controversial comments yesterday in regards to African Americans and, talking about white people and their thoughts on living with African Americans in society. We'll talk about that coming up next. We're going to continue the homeless topic as well. Again, that number 257-5396. We're here with the minister, Stretch Sanders. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take.
Are you interested in owning rental properties right here in the Las Vegas area? Auction.com, the nation's leading real estate auctioneer, must sell 102 rental properties in the Las Vegas and Henderson markets. These are turnkey, income-producing single-family homes and condos with tenants and leases in place. That's right, the tenants are in place and currently paying rent on over 100 homes to be auctioned individually at auction.com/radio. Financing is available and a broker co-op is being offered for this one-time unprecedented online auction to be held November 11th through 13th. Add more rentals to your portfolio, diversify your investments to add real estate, or buy your very first real estate investment. This is an auction that can't be missed. View all homes and auction details at auction.com/radio. That's www.auction.com/radio. Auction is subject to a reserve.
Listen to 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, wherever you have an Amazon Echo device. Simply enable the KDWN skill on your Amazon Alexa app. Then say, Alexa, open KDON.
Thank you for opening KDWN. You can choose Play Live Stream.
On the air, on the web, on the KDWN app, and now on your Amazon Echo, 101.5 FM, 720 AM.
Thank you for listening to KDWN.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by South Point Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk. Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON.
Transcripts from impeachment interviews just out show EU Ambassador Gordon Sondland agreeing that the administration was demanding Ukraine investigate the Bidens in return for a meeting with President Trump. Drug cartel gunmen ambushed 3 SUVs along a dirt road, slaughtering at least 6 children and 3 women, all of them U.S. citizens living in northern Mexico. Correspondent Matt Rivers is in Mexico City.
Cars were attacked by gunmen, and those gunmen, not only did they shoot up the cars, but they lit some of them on fire. And according to one family member we spoke to, some of the people who were killed were actually burnt alive.
The dead included 8-month-old twins. U.S. employers advertised fewer job openings in September, but the number of jobs open remains by historic standards still very high. Job postings dropped by 300,000. On Wall Street, the Dow was up about 60 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
Sunday nights, it's Steve Sanchez.
Wake the heck up.
Live from the undisclosed bunker studios with a Constitution in one hand and a Bible in the other. Sundays from 7 to 10 p.m. on News Talk 720 KDWN.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
This is Lorraine Hunt Bono, inviting you to tune in for Breaking Bread with Bono. Join my husband, Dennis Bono, as celebrities share with him their intimate and humorous stories. Saturdays, 5 to 6 p.m., right here on KDON.
O'Reilly. This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross-country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street, and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Tuesday. Joining us in studio is the minister, Stretch Sanders, talking about racial issues and, of course, the homeless issues facing the country certainly hits home right here in Las Vegas as well. And we're taking your phone calls, 257-5396. Again, that number 702-257-5396. Why don't we kick off this segment and go to Randall. Randall, you are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thanks. I want to make a connection between 2 points that are being made because I agree with both, and I think they're related. The one that a lot of homeless are there because of the choices they've made. The other that we don't think of them as human. I think a problem I've experienced working with people on the verge of homelessness through my church is some people do want to change, and those are easy people to work with, and there's so much. Everybody wants to help them. But the people that had things happen to them or for whatever reason they're homeless by the choices they've made, it takes so much time and effort to change somebody, to get somebody to want to change, hours and weeks and months and years to change kind of who somebody is, to start making better choices, to go get help, to get off the street. So it's kind of discouraging as a fellow human to see a homeless person and think, oh, I'd love to help them, but man, that's a huge load to change somebody.
Well, Randall, let's let it's a valid point. Let's let Stretch respond to that. Go ahead, Stretch.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate your question, your statement. I think the problem is it's not that people don't necessarily want to change. I think that people have accepted the conditions that they're in. Now, I will say this. Some people, you do have to feed with a long-handled spoon, and you do have to say, you know what? I cannot kill myself trying to help this person. Some people are just, I'm not going to say that they can't change, but it's just not their time. You do have to want to change. But can we honestly say we're planting the right seeds to spark change? And locking people up is not a way to go about it. That's not how you spark change. Giving out fines is not how you spark change. That's not motivation for nobody.
I tend to agree with you on that one. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Nikki. Nikki, you're next. You're on with Stretch. Go ahead.
So I have a question. I have an adopted daughter who has been in and out of mental facilities because she has severe mental problems. And in Nevada, in Las Vegas alone, they've closed all the most of the acute facilities for children. How are we going to stop them from ending up on the streets if we don't have any care for the kids?
That's a good point. Stretch, what do you say to that?
So me being somebody who has people in my family who battle with mental health issues, that's another battle we need to tackle. And I think that it all goes back to us actually speaking out. It's cool to call in the radio shows. It's cool to make Facebook and Twitter posts. But are we going to show up to the thousands at these mental health facilities? Are we going to show up by the thousands to these city council meetings like we have one tomorrow at 9 a.m.? We need to show up and demand the city builds more mental health facilities for children and adults, demand they build more shelters. And so I think that if we don't tackle mental health, then yes, that is going to produce the climate for those who are on the street.
Nikki, do you agree with that?
I'll show up as somebody else. I'm asking for help because I'm at a loss. I don't want my daughter. I have my brother with schizophrenia. I don't want my daughter to end up on the street. It terrifies me.
Right.
She's actually threatened to kill my 5-year-old and my wife.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if she could. They're sending her home from Georgia because she's not doing anything.
So Nikki, this is and I'm sorry, this is your daughter you're talking about?
Yeah, this is my daughter.
So let me ask you, Nikki, I'm so sorry you're having to go through this.
Yes.
Have you called the police, and what type of help is your daughter getting now? Because I consider that a very serious situation.
She's in a facility in Georgia right now, but because she's not hurting anybody at the facility in Georgia, they say that she needs to come home.
Well,
even though she's making the threat.
So you're telling me that your daughter, and I'm sure you take it very seriously, that your daughter has threatened to kill members of your family. You're telling me she's in a facility that is not in the state of Nevada, and that facility is saying they're going to send her back to your family. See, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. And then we wonder why there are so many. Yeah, it's terrible.
They won't. They won't. Under the age of 12, they won't give them a formal diagnosis other than PTSD.
See, and then we wonder why some of these people, commit horrendous acts. Some of these people need help, and it doesn't, Nikki, and thank you, by the way, for your story. I'm sorry you're going through that. I hope your daughter ends up being okay. But then we wonder why some of these people that lose their minds, so to speak, that have mental issues, go into schools and start killing innocent people. Go into a Walmart and start killing innocent people. We need to do something about mental illness in this country. And until it is addressed, we are going to get people that are going to be taking lives of innocent others because they didn't get the help that they needed. When somebody says that they are going to kill a member of their family, and you could hear in this Nikki, this mother's voice, her concern. When somebody says they're going to kill somebody, they need to be evaluated and they need help.
Mental health is one of, I would put it like this. Being without a home on the street, that's the reaction. The action is mental health. The action is low living wages. The action is 2 jobs to make ends meet, struggling, living in high-risk crime areas, being oppressed. That is what's causing this. So when you have that climate that is built around you, your limitations and opportunities to succeed are very minute. So we have to look at various things. Mental health is a big one, but it's also the fact that people are literally struggling. For most of us, we lose our job and don't get a flow after that, we on the street. Yeah. We all are a paycheck away. And so that's why it's so important. That's why I'm calling on people to come out and join us tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. on the City Hall steps. We're going to have a rally. Yep. It's the Homes, Not Handcuffs rally, and then we're going to head and have the City Council meeting at 9 a.m.
All right, so
come out and talk about the mental health and the different issues.
So you agree that if you lose your job, that you're likely on the street. And we've had this conversation a lot of times about offending someone in the workplace and losing your job and being on the street. Do you think that is? I mean, the parallel there to me is very, very interesting.
Absolutely. If you come from a family, you got folks who moved out here with just themselves. No real support, no real stability. And so they lose their job, or if anything goes wrong, then the bills start piling up, and before you know it, they're on the street.
Speaking of losing your job, I want to switch topics here real quickly because we talk about race relations in this country a lot. Have you heard this story, Stretch? At Buffalo Wild Wings, 2 managers were fired because some customers that were not white were sitting at a table, and some other customers wanted them to move tables because of basically their descent, because of the color of their skin. I cannot believe that the managers actually went over, these 2 managers, and asked them if they could move. So what happens? These 2 managers are fired, rightfully so. They're complete morons. I can't believe they did that. In fact, if I'm a manager of a restaurant and one of my customers says, I want them to move, why? Why? Are they being loud? Are they being obnoxious? Well, you know what? They don't look like us.
Is it possible that these 2 managers are mentally ill, Brian?
I have no idea. I don't know how to answer that question.
They just lost their job. Mm-hmm. Assuming they're in a place where rent is high, or they don't own a home because they're paycheck to paycheck, as we just discussed. They're probably going to be on the street themselves. Do you think that they should be on the street?
So you think? So you think they should still be employed?
No, I'm just saying for being mentally ill potentially, or ignorant to another race.
Where do you?
I'm saying we're basically talking in circles.
No, we're not. I disagree with you. You're telling me that if you're a manager of a restaurant,
well, we're saying that mental illness is a large component of being homeless, and I'm saying these 2 managers are probably mentally ill to the fact that they're.
How about just racist? Can't you just be racist without being mentally ill?
Yes. Come on.
What? Do you agree?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Why does it have to be mentally ill?
I see your point, JD, but it's a little different.
This is a different circumstance.
Because that's a very conscious choice, right? That's way you can't. It's one thing saying, okay, I gamble and I'm a gambler. I'm addicted to gambling. I gamble my house away, or I drink, or you can say, okay, those are coping mechanisms. You telling somebody, okay, hey, we got guests who don't want you here. Can you move over? It's nothing really meant to me. That's mentally ill about that. You definitely have some issues, and I think that they are more stemmed from racism, hatred, bigotry, things like that.
It all comes down to choices regardless. These guys made that choice. The people we've been discussing for the last hour, they made the choices to either gamble or drink or do drugs or get involved with prostitutes or whatever.
Can't it just be possible that they're just racist a-holes? Can't that be possible? Why does it have to be an excuse of mental illness? Let me tell you something. If I saw that a manager went up to another table and asked them to move because of their race, I would call them a racist, and I would immediately want them to be fired.
I'm not suggesting that they're not racist. What I'm saying is, should they have absolutely no wherewithal?
What do you mean no wherewithal? Nobody said they can't work another job.
They're losing their jobs. Their names.
They can't find another job.
Their names are being mentioned in the media. Who's going to want to hire them again?
They deserve it.
The question is, they're going to be homeless themselves most likely.
That's not true. I disagree with
Based
that.
on what?
First of all,
we've just been discussing.
First of all, you don't know
for
that
the last 30 minutes.
Here's where I completely disagree.
About
how
lower wages, higher rent.
You don't know that
there's a good chance that these two managers are
So
paycheck
what do you
to
think should
paycheck.
happen to them then? What's your point?
I'm just asking you. It seems like we're helping some people and not helping other people.
Okay, so you think we should help people that are racist? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, what do you think? I think job security is a big deal.
Then maybe you shouldn't be a racist then.
And right now, people are losing their jobs
well,
for
guess
offending
what?
people.
I'm not going to feel bad. Excuse me, that's not offending somebody.
But on the same side of things, if you drink and gamble, and again, these are all personal choices by both.
How could you compare
people.
a drinking problem to being a racist?
I'm asking. There is a decent chance that these two managers will be homeless within the next month or 2 months.
I completely disagree with you.
What?
First of all, you don't know that they have a drinking problem or a gambling problem or a drug problem.
That's number one. I know they don't have a job.
Okay, that's number one. No, you don't. They could have another job lined up. You don't know that. Number two.
Again, who would hire
And number
them?
three, if you are a racist, I have zero sympathy for you in any way, shape, or form in life. When you go to a table, and make no mistake about it, I'll explain this again and then stretch. And we'll take your phone calls on this at 257-5396. A child was celebrating a birthday party. Okay, these were people of color. Okay, and some customers asked them to move, and then the managers, instead of acting appropriately, several of them, by the way, went up to the table and asked them to move. I don't blame them for saying they didn't want to move. Eventually, they just left the restaurant. I'm glad they did. I am in complete support of these managers getting fired. I think they are morons. I think they are racist. There is no evidence to support that they are mentally ill. There's a lot of evidence to support that they are racist pigs.
Okay, is there racism predicated from mental illness, which is just due to ignorance? Is that
So
possible?
you're saying Donald Trump is mentally ill?
No, what I'm saying.
Is that what you're saying?
What does Donald Trump have to do with this, Brian?
Donald Trump has demonized people of color.
He has absolutely nothing to do with this
It
conversation.
has a lot to do with color.
You're bringing
maybe
you're trying to attack the president.
Maybe you're onto
no
something.
reason
No,
whatsoever.
JD, I'm going to go with you on this. You're right. The president's mentally ill. You're right. I agree.
Do you think that both of these managers should be homeless, Brian?
That's a ridiculous question.
Because they're racist. We just had the conversation. We said that low living wages, if you don't have a job, there's a good chance you go homeless. Should these guys be homeless
I'll answer your
for being
question.
racist?
I'll answer your question. By the way, there is no evidence to support the fact that they are going to be homeless. I don't know where you're getting that from. Just because you lose your job doesn't mean automatically you're going to be homeless in a month. So that's ridiculous. But I will answer your question, and I'll be very blunt and honest with you.
Let's do it.
If you are dumb enough to be the manager of a restaurant and hateful enough to go up to a table and ask them to move because of the color of their skin and someone at another table doesn't like them because they don't look like you. If you are dumb enough to do something like that and hateful enough to do something like that, I have no sympathy for you. And if you end up being homeless, in my opinion, you belong there because you made a horrible mistake. Now, with that being said, I don't think that's the case here. I don't think these people are mentally ill.
But on the other side of things, if you are dumb enough to drink yourself, to drink all your money away, to gamble all your money away, to do drugs.
That is substance abuse.
You may become homeless, but you deserve help. You can have help, but these two people can't because
Let me tell you something.
Is basically what you're telling me.
I agree with both of you guys. I think why I agree with Brian is if you, first of all, to do something like that, what are we in the 60s? Like that is completely out of whack. So yeah, you definitely should be fired. Unfortunately, we are in the social media generation where stuff happens like that. Your names are blasted, and it's people who have done racist stuff, and they have lost their job. I do agree, based on what it is. In this situation, yes, they should not be. They're not ready for a restaurant job to be a manager. But I believe in redemption. I believe in second chances. I believe I've made mistakes where I've lost jobs over mistakes I made due to me feeling pressured and my back was against the wall. But I still hold myself accountable, but I still deserve to be forgiven and have redemption. So I believe that if these two guys, they deserve to get rehired somewhere else. They shouldn't be hired in that company, and they should not be in management.
And that is my point.
But
they definitely should.
And by the way,
we make mistakes.
It is important to note that there is no evidence to support the fact that these men that were fired are mentally ill. Let's take some phone calls. What do you think out there? 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Calvin. Calvin, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
What's up, Calvin?
Well, I just want to tell you straight. You made some good arguments there, but these guys, if they're racist, I don't care if they ever work again. I'm sorry. Because if you're going to treat people like that, you have no business in the community doing those type of things.
I agree.
What if kids are around and kids see these
Kids
people
were
acting
around.
like
Calvin,
that, and
Calvin.
this is acceptable.
Calvin, I agree with you. By the way, there were kids. Sadly, this was a birthday party family get-together. This is utterly disgusting. I agree with you.
It's very disgusting because is this example we're going to give our kids? It's okay to be a racist and we'll still employ you?
Yeah, I don't feel bad for them at all.
Why don't we force them to change their views about being racist to other people and then re-employ them?
JD, what do you say to that?
I think there should definitely be education, 100%.
All right, so you agree with Calvin. That Calvin's saying he doesn't mind if they don't work again for the rest of their life. I don't feel sorry for these guys.
And Brother Calvin,
I have not the inkling of sorriness for these people who can treat other people that way.
Yeah.
And to be told by somebody else and you go act on it knowing that it's wrong, that's what's wrong with America today.
That's right.
And when we talk about our mental illness, my uncle was mental ill. The government got him an apartment. He used to walk around pushing a shopping cart, didn't care where he was. If he didn't make it home, he slept on the street. But he had an apartment. He's mentally ill, but you need more than that.
Point taken, Calvin, and we appreciate the call. And by the way, the idea that if you are a Klansman or a KKK man, I know, JD, you're not saying this, but the idea that if you're a Klansman, you must be mentally ill. How about you're just a hateful, racist human being?
Right.
There are people like that out there. 257-5396. Why don't we go to Steven? Steven, you're next on the Vegas Take. Go ahead. You're on with Stretch.
What's up, Steven?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
Brian, JD, and Stretch.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stretch, I'll meet you there tomorrow morning. Hopefully you'll be there a little early. Maybe we'd have a chance to get acquainted. I would like for you to, in the interim, to possibly make a list of all the potential problems, unquote, that you see that could better this situation. I think we're always in a hurry to blame others. I know that people that have varying degrees of addictive personality. I hearken to Steve Howe. I mean, he only had 7 chances to make $7 or $10 million a year when $7 to $10 million a year was a lot of money. And he couldn't do it.
Stephen, let me ask you a question. What do you think about these people in this restaurant that were fired, that lost their jobs, that asked people to move basically because of the color of their skin? What do you say to those people? Do you think they deserve to be fired?
I think that's an owner issue. I wouldn't condone it, and I'd make sure that it never happened again.
Mm-hmm.
I went into 7-Eleven last July and ran into a little white woman about 72 years old with a walker. She looked very much dehydrated. She asked me if I could get her some water. I went into the 7-Eleven and I bought the Rockstar and got some ice for my mug, and she'd given me a cup, and I attempted to fill up the cup with ice for her. And
I don't mean to rush you, but
four black people there.
Okay. Yes, there we go.
And they said I couldn't take ice to the white woman because she'd been barred out of there. It was about 110 degrees that day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what I'm showing is racism comes in all colors.
I agree with you, Stephen, and we're not saying that racism doesn't come in all colors. I don't disagree with you. Go ahead, Stretch.
This is what it comes down to. I agree with Calvin. I hear Stephen. You need to be held for your actions, period. I'm the first one. If I do something wrong, the consequences I get coming, I can't cry and, oh, my God. After I repent, I ask for redemption. I will hope that I'm able to move forward. People make mistakes. Yeah. But they should not be in form of management. They should definitely be fired, because if they stay, what example does that lead? Yeah. But I agree with JD. We have to educate that, and that needs to be taught some education pieces that, brother.
A little bit of both.
But
there has to be accountability.
And even with education, some people just got hatred in their heart, and that's where it's going to be until they're ready to change.
Well, for me personally, I wanted to hear for the next 10 minutes about how he filled up his mug with ice, because that was very exciting radio. Next time he calls in, I hope he shares that story again. That was so exciting. Number to call, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. We'll take some more calls in a second here. So Michelle Obama made some interesting comments yesterday. She's at a speech, and she said that she believes white flight is still an issue. And if you don't know what white flight is, it's people that are white that live in a community that don't want, or not comfortable with, I should say, African Americans living in their community. I call that racism. There's a lot of white people that have been neighbors of mine that I haven't liked very much. I don't care what the color of your skin is. If you're a jerk, if you're a bad neighbor, you're a bad neighbor. So do you agree with Michelle Obama? Because some people are taking issue to what she said. Do you believe white flight is an issue in society right now?
I think that white flight is definitely still real. I mean, if you got managers who are still bold enough to pull a 1966 "we don't serve N-words" up in here, then you definitely know that white flight is real and that people have black neighbors and they literally pack up and move. But I also believe that black people, we can't be so concerned with that. Every community has their own neighborhoods. We need to have our own as well. But it doesn't mean that we can't have free will to live where we want to live. But I just don't put too much energy in people who are from another community not wanting to be around me. I feel that if that's okay, I'm not going to force myself on you. I'll do my own thing. So I think that black people need to look at this situation as, yeah, white flight is real, but let's also not have a black flight, because when we integrated, which is some beautiful things in a way, we pulled black flight, which means we
you don't want white people in your community,
and we integrate. Not even that. It's the fact that we were so excited to go to white hotels, we let go black ones. We were so excited to go to white restaurants, we let go black ones. So I think that we got to stop having black flight. You got, black people would criticize white people and say, oh, white people don't want to live around us. You don't want to live around us.
So do you think she has an issue with Little Italy or Chinatown or the German community in a lot of major cities across the United States?
I would just say that black people need to focus on the fact that we have black flight. At the end of the day, the bombers are different because they're from a different level of economics, but there are a lot of black people who succeed and get successful. They don't even walk around the hood. So we want to criticize and talk about, well, there's a white flight, but what about black flight? You don't even want to have a business in your own community.
I don't disagree with that. Let's take a phone call from someone that actually agrees with Michelle Obama. Let's go to Daniela. Daniela, you're on with Stretch. Go ahead.
Hello. I lived in my community. I probably moved in 5 years ago. When I moved in, all my neighbors on my street were white at the time. Everybody came in and said hi to me. One day I was out doing some yard work, and a black neighbor of mine came by, and he was like, oh, has anybody come and introduced yourself? And I was like, oh, yeah, I met, a couple people. And he's like, really? Because I've lived here for 5 years, and nobody has ever come to introduce themselves to me, to my house. So this guy lived in a corner house. Everybody drove by it. So it's not like he was hidden from the neighborhood.
Right.
And then also we had another neighbor who would blatantly post stickers of Obama and impeach Obama, which everybody has their opinion on that. But it was borderline racist to the point where, Obama Nation, things about Muslims. And that was, unapologetically put on their doors. So.
All right. Well, I'm glad you shared that story. I'm sorry that you've had to go through some of that stuff. Clearly, it's there in society. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I don't think the majority of white people feel that way, or African Americans. Let's go to Chris Wynn, who is a friend of the show. He's calling in. Chris, what do you think about all this?
What's up, C-Wynn?
Hey, Brian, I just wanted to correct you on the actual definition of white flight.
It's
not
gentrification.
About people it's not about people being prejudice or being racist. White flight is something that took place back in the late 70s or 80s and 90s where white people have left the inner cities and certain neighborhoods in the inner cities because the neighborhoods were destitute.
All right, well, let's ask Chris. Let's ask Stretch.
It's basically the origins of suburbs.
Stretch, what's your definition of white flight, Stretch? Go ahead.
So white flight is if you have a white neighborhood or a white community and other communities of color start to move in, and overnight, people who are white feel that having people of color are going to bring the property value down. And so to save their homes and to make sure what they think is going to bring down their property values, they pack up and they move to the suburbs.
Right.
And white flight wasn't just with the housing. It was with the jobs, the plants. Once black people started getting more hired at the plants and the meat packaging companies, they started closing those down. And now we was on the bus. We didn't have access to go to the plants in the suburbs. Those who are white could afford vehicles. So it's bigger than just somebody moving out of a neighborhood. It was closing down jobs.
Do you think that gentrification affected generational wealth for African Americans negatively?
Great question. I think that gentrification still impacts the black community because they say that our community has no value. Don't want to put any resources to make the community safe for us to live, but then we'll raise up the rent, we'll move us out, come and make condos. Why didn't you just put the resources so we can live and have our own communities? No, they want the property, want the land, but don't want the people. So you can take my grandmother's house, but you can't live next to my grandmother's house.
Stretch, I wish we had more time, but we know you have your event tomorrow, and we hope a lot of people show up for that and your Thanksgiving event. You do some great things for your community. Always appreciate it when you come in. We'll catch up with you next week. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Stretch.
Always a lively conversation with Stretch. We'll take a quick break, be back right after this. UNLV basketball. That's right. Game 1 of the season, the TJ Otzelberger era, starts tonight. We'll break that down. Coming up next, you're listening to the Vegas Take.
Hey.
Hey, Bench, what are you doing?
I'm rubbing my blue emu on.
Well, you ready to go fishing?
Fishing?
You said we were going fishing this morning.
I have 10 Gold Glove awards.
Here we go again.
Johnny Bench doesn't go fishing.
Yeah, I know.
Johnny Bench goes catching. Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers and Amazon.
Hey, have you heard that ransomware attacks have increased by 500% this year?
Yeah, cybercriminals are targeting all types of businesses, encrypting their data and holding it hostage unless they pay up.
What if we're their next victim?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda to detect, prevent, and recover from ransomware and other advanced threats.
So we're secured?
Absolutely. We'll pay no ransom and keep this business up and running.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Hey, it's Brian G. Barrow from the Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
A googol is 1 and 100 zeros. This number was defined by American mathematician Edward Kasner in the 1930s. His 9-year-old son made up the word, which led to the name Google. So the most influential company in the world today got its name from a 9-year-old in the 1930s.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
We're facing an epidemic in our Las Vegas Valley like none we've ever seen. Men, women, and children are dying every day due to opioid addiction and opioid overdose. There is help available. WestCare has a triage center that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is 702-385-2090. Opioid addiction and opioid overdose. 702-385-2090. Please call today.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Sondland Revelations, Stone in Court. I'm Mike Moss. Dramatic testimony is coming public as the impeachment inquiry releases depositions of key figures in the Ukraine investigation. Correspondent Kylie Atwood with more.
One thing that Ambassador Sondland referenced in his opening remarks before this testimony, that he was concerned about the role that Rudy Giuliani was playing. And now we are getting some more examples of the fact that Secretary Pompeo was fully aware of the role that Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal lawyer, was playing in the U.S.-Ukraine foreign policy, which should be owned by the State Department national security officials.
The EU ambassador Sondland has revised his prior testimony and now says he told Ukraine officials that U.S. military aid was contingent upon conducting investigations of the Bidens. Sondland also says he thought what he was doing might be illegal. The impeachment inquiry has requested that White House Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney testify. Transcripts from testimony by two of the three amigos who helped run Ukraine policy has just been released. Political operative Roger Stone today begins his trial on charges related to his alleged efforts to exploit the Russian-hacked Hillary Clinton emails for political gain. Correspondent Jessica Schneider reports the jury may end up hearing from some high-profile witnesses,
including Steve Bannon, who, of course, was front and center on the Trump campaign and chief strategist at the White House, plus Rick Gates, who was the deputy campaign chairman and already a star witness at 2 previous trials related to the Mueller investigation. So really, a lot of tantalizing details could actually come out of this trial. Expected to last about 2.5 weeks, and it all begins with jury selection today.
Stone left today's hearing early, complaining of food poisoning. On Wall Street, stocks have turned up. The Dow up 85, S&P up 1. I'm Mike Moss.
Alan Dershowitz is... It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Pardee Homes. Watch for slowing for crash on the 95 northbound approaching Eastern Avenue. This is blocking the 2 left lanes. Stay to the right to get by. Also an accident reported on Sahara at Teddy Drive and a crash at Craig Road at Nellis Boulevard. And also possible slowing for police activity. Paradise at Flight Path Avenue. Get smart buy savings on move-in ready homes valley-wide from the high 200,000s at PardeeSmart.com. Pardee Homes is an equal opportunity housing builder. Nevada Contractors License Number 3633A. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Blue Emu Lidocaine Cream and Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Cream both are deep penetrating and odor-free. Beat the pain 2 ways and live life. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hi, it's Sam. Hey, it's Ash, and we're Sam and Ash, your personal injury attorneys. An accident is incredibly stressful. Handling an insurance claim, totally overwhelming. Also, the insurance companies have zero interest in giving their money to you, because honestly, that just cuts into their profits. Our team is in your corner because you deserve what's right, and that's full compensation for your injuries. So call us 24/7 at 1-800-304-2000 or visit samandash.com. Sam and Ash. What's right?
Hey, Chuck, you've said before that the DLC has processed over 2 million applications. What about the folks who were denied?
Craig, I love this question, and the answer is simple. If you were denied a loan in the past and are still looking for a loan, before you go somewhere else and pay way too much, give us another shot. Everyone's situation changes. You may have a cosigner, a new job, a raise, who knows? But we would sure like the chance to try and help you out.
I'm telling you, it seems like my credit score goes up and down each month.
Another great point. We don't use a traditional credit score at Dollar Loan Center, so if your credit isn't great, we can still help. You don't even need a checking account, and we give you longer to pay back.
That was Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center, where you can get up to $5,000 in just minutes. We have over 50 locations, or you can apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
This is what parents are saying about Infinity, the math institute.
She didn't like school. She really did not like to go to math class. She would be very upset. She wouldn't do her homework. With Infinity Math, she actually listened and wanted to succeed in math.
My kids were already good in math, but now they're excellent. My husband and me, we are so happy because we see how she is interested in math and that she is always excited to go. We are so glad we made this choice to send her to Infinity.
I like Infinity because it has broadened my children's view on math because Mr. Brookhagen is an awesome teacher.
Math is everywhere. There's no reason why our kids should hate it. Infinity changed that for my kids, and imagine what they can do for you.
Call Infinity, the Math Institute, at 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. Infinity, the Math Institute. Don't get more math problems, get solutions.
Las Vegas's only FM news talk station is right here. The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Tuesday. By the way, a quick reminder, programming note. Attorney Michael Avenatti will be joining us in studio tomorrow. And, obviously we're going to be getting some people on the right to get into some good debates with him. But if you have an idea, suggestion, or you're one of those people that wants to get in the ring with Michael Avenatti, shoot us an email at producer@thevegastake.com. We always love a good debate from the right and the left. So Michael Avenatti will be joining us in studio tomorrow. Now, JD, do you know what today is?
Tuesday, November 5th.
Besides the actual, what is the special? What is special about today from the sports perspective?
Well, it's first day of college basketball.
There you go. That's what I was alluding to. Yes, thank you. Besides being, what is the date today, by the way? I didn't even know what the date. Wow, is it that? It's already the first week of November. Unbelievable.
It's Friday, December 14th.
Well, yes, you are right, JD.
It's Monday, September 3rd.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. You can't trick me. But today, you're right. Today is the opening of college basketball and the first game of the TJ Otzelberger era UNLV basketball in action tonight. That's right. I'm pumped up. It's the Rebel song. You've heard this song before, have you not, JD? You're not a fan of it? This is the Fight Rebel song. You've never heard this song at a game before? The band plays it all the time. You'll hear it 30 times tonight. Why are you giving me this blank stare? What did I do?
Brian, I've heard this song a lot of times.
I'm just asking you. That's all.
You're just extremely excited about UNLV basketball.
Well, no, I'm doing a radio show,
you're overly enthusiastic about UNLV basketball.
I'm sorry. Let's start this segment over. All right, welcome back. It's the Vegas Take. Today happens to be the opening day of college basketball.
This is my speed. I like this.
Today happens to be the opening day of college basketball.
Your name is James Lipton.
Tonight, the Rebels are in action at the Thomas and Mack Center. I feel like I'm working for NPR Radio. What are you talking about? Of course I'm excited. This isn't fake.
That's what I like to hear.
I'm a big college basketball fan.
No, this is too much. I like the James Lipton stuff.
Okay. Well, today, TJ Otzelberger, it's the era of TJ Otzelberger. I'm in the JD voice now, and I'm not excited at all. I don't care. But today happens to be the first day of college basketball, so I still want all of my listeners to care, even though I sound like I don't care. No, I'm not going to do that. Number one, I do care. Well, that's what you sound like. That's what you're saying.
I do not sound like that at all.
Well, you're trying to make fun of me because I'm actually excited. Yes, I'm a big college basketball fan. Kansas is playing Duke tonight. There's a lot of big games tonight, and I will be going to the UNLV game tonight because it is the start of the era. We hope it's a long era of the new UNLV basketball coach, TJ Otzelberger, has been on this show a couple times, and this is fun. Listen, when Marvin Menzies took over this program, it wasn't fun for a lot of different reasons. First of all, he had no talent. Second of all, I didn't think he would succeed here. He didn't get out in the community. There were a lot of things about him from the get-go that I didn't like, and by the way, me and Marvin Menzies had a few phone conversations before he was even hired, and I didn't like the guy. He just rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm not going to go back into the Marvin Menzies era. I'm glad he's not here anymore because he did a horrible job, and there's a lot of things about him I don't like, but we'll leave that one alone. I like what TJ Otzelberger has done to start this era before playing a game, even though they had a preseason game. He's gone out in the community. He's done the right things, the things that a coach needs to do to get his face out there, and I appreciate that about him. He's very good to us, and he's been good to the community so far, and he's gone out there, and he's really made the effort, and I appreciate that about him. Now, they're playing a really, I don't want to say unknown, but a Summit League team. What do you know, JD, about the Purdue-Fort Wayne basketball team that UNLV is playing at the Thomas and Mack Center tonight?
IPFW. What do I know about them? Last year when I wagered college basketball, the average spread on an IPFW game, they were about a 20-point underdog every single time. And today they're a 10.5-point underdog, which does not bode well.
Isn't it a 10
for UNLV's chances of blowing them out?
So you don't think it's going to be a blowout? So you think the spread, which is around 10.5, is pretty accurate?
IPFW is a consistent 20 to 25-point underdog.
So why are they only 10? What does that mean? Tell me. You're the professional sports handicapper. Yeah, what does it mean?
It means that the game is going to be kind of close.
Okay. So I don't know a lot about that. I know nothing about this team. We do know a lot about UNLV, or enough to make predictions on the season. We know that they were preseason poll 7. Was it 7th? I think it was 7th in the Mountain West Conference. We do know that there are a few players on this UNLV team that have come back, Bryce Hamilton being one of them. I certainly had Chekna Dembele, another one. Nick Blair. So there are a few players, but I think the big name that came back, and a guy that I think might have a chance to play at the next level, but I think this year is really important for him. That is Amari Hardy. So Amari Hardy is going to be starting at the 2. And you go through this roster, my issues is with our starting point guard, and I hope I'm wrong. That would be Elijah Long. Now, he is a senior. He transferred over from Texas, only averaging like a bucket or 2 a game and a few assists. You need more out of your point guard. You need more production. I think that puts a lot of pressure on Amari Hardy to create for others. But this kid Long is going to have to do a better job. Those type of stats over at Texas are not going to cut it here at UNLV. Do I think this team has a chance to compete for a Mountain West Conference title? I think they have a chance. Certainly, you look at a team like a Utah State, they are above and beyond any other team in the conference. So let me ask you this. Since this is game 1, since it is the opening of the UNLV basketball season, what in your eyes, JD, is a successful year? When we're sitting here in the second week of March, around that time, and the season is over, how many wins do you think TJ Otzelberger needs to have, and what type of season do you think he needs to have this year? Keep in mind, he is the highest paid coach in the Mountain West Conference. What type of year do you think he needs to have in order for you to say, you know what, TJ, that was a really good, successful year 1. Now let's build on this for year 2.
18 and 13 collectively. We'll say top 5 in conference. I would say top 5. They still have a lot of good athletes. Jong, Donnie Tillman, who the transfer from Utah, who is a very, very good 3-point shooter. He's a plus athlete. Amari Hardy is a extremely good scorer. This Mitru Long kid, I worry about him at point guard. I don't think he's going to do very well. And when in college basketball is a point guards league. I mean, it's a point guards sport. You have to have very good guard play to be successful in college basketball, and a lot of teams in the Mountain West actually have really good guard play. A lot of these teams are bringing back good guards, and so I think Mitru Long is going to be one of the worst point guards in the league, and that could be a real issue.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not. And at 18 and 13 would be a relatively successful year to me. Obviously, 20 wins would be probably somewhere near the ideal.
If you're 18 and 13, you have absolutely no chance, right, of getting into the NIT?
No. Well, no, I think you'd have a chance of making the NIT, but you'd have no chance of making the NCAA tournament.
I think at minimum they need to be in the NIT this year for it to be a successful year. Now, what that record is, I don't know. Get to, at minimum, the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference tournament. I'm going to say top 4 in the league, which might be asking a little bit too much. Again, they were preseason number 7. But if you can get top 4 in the league and make the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference tournament in year 1, maybe get on NIT home game, it is absolutely a successful year for TJ Otzelberger. Listen, that's not going to be easy. I am concerned defensively. His teams at South Dakota State were not very good defensively, but great offense to watch. So I am interested in that.
They were some of the worst teams in college basketball for several years defensively. But David Jenkins came on our show 3 weeks ago, and he stated verbatim, we've been working on defense constantly every single practice. I'm just not sure if they have the actual talent.
Let me just explain who David Jenkins is. For those of you who don't know, David Jenkins was on our show a few weeks ago. He is one of the top transfers in all of college basketball. He transferred over from TJ's team here to UNLV. He's not eligible to play this year, but he's eligible next year. Yeah, he can shoot.
And he came from South Dakota State, but he's from Washington, and he turned down Gonzaga and Oregon as the number 2 transfer in the country to go to UNLV. So it's a pretty big deal that he followed TJ Otzelberger because the guy had options.
Right.
And he shot 45% from 3 last year. Jenkins and Hardy next year, when he can play, that'll be one of the best backcourts in the nation. They're not going to be great defensively. They're not going to be good defensively at guard, I don't think, for quite some time. But that'll be something special next year. But this year, Elijah Mitru Long, I don't think he has what it takes to be successful. I think you're going to see these IPFW guards expose him today in game 1.
So in this game, and again, I don't know a lot about this Purdue-Fort Wayne team, but what we do know is that they got one kid that's 6'11". They do have some height. They got a couple big kids. When you look at a game like this, certainly all the pressure's on UNLV, right? If you're TJ Otzelberger, you want to get off to a good start. You certainly don't want to lose to this team in the first game of the year. What do you want to see from UNLV? Obviously, there's going to be, I would imagine, there's going to be a lot of trapping. Maybe not a lot of full-court press, but certainly there's going to be trapping, half-court trapping, that sort of thing. It's going to be an up-tempo game. I believe the over-under total was around 161. So pretty much they're saying UNLV should be able to get into the 80s, maybe even the 90s against this team. So you would imagine that this is going to be an up-tempo game, correct?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, it's a very up-tempo offense.
Yeah. So
their style of play is going to be up-tempo, but I mean, it's going to consist of a lot of trapping. It's going to consist of probably a lot of pressing. But again, I don't know if they have the athletes defensively to make that successful. And if they don't, yeah, it'll be a a 95-85 game or an 85-76 game or something along those lines.
Competition, JD, gets difficult coming up. Their schedule is very, very good. Their second game of the year is actually home, and I'm really looking forward to this one. We get to see a pretty good Kansas State team come to the Thomas & Mack Center this weekend on Saturday. Then all of a sudden they go on the road. Not an easy game against Cal. They play California on the road, and then they play UCLA on the road. So, and of course, their coach, we thought he was going to be the next Mick Cronin, thought we were going to be the next UNLV coach. I think UCLA is going to be very good this year.
They have a ton of talent. They have Shaq's son, Sharif O'Neal, fresh off a heart
And I was actually talking to a friend of mine who has been at some of UCLA's practices that's saying Shaq's son is a lot better than advertised. They play Texas State.
He was a 5-star kid.
So UNLV also plays Texas State. They play SMU at home. They play Jackson State at home, and then the schedule gets tough again. Their last game before conference play. Actually, correct. Let me correct you there. They play Fresno State early in the season, but they also play BYU. They play Cincinnati on the road. So there are some tough games for UNLV before we get to conference play. This is a game obviously they have to win. You got to beat this Fort Wayne team, and then Kansas State comes to town. We're really going to see how good this team is. But point I'm trying to make is I give TJ Otzelberger, even though he might have not made this entire schedule, I do give UNLV credit for having a tough out-of-conference schedule because it really is something that you absolutely need, especially when you're in the Mountain West Conference when we know it could be just a one-bid league this year, right? It is possible that Utah State could be the only team that makes the NCAA tournament. Would you agree with that?
It's very possible, Brian.
That's a very bad conference.
Number 17 in the country, Utah State, plays Montana State tonight. They're a 16-point favorite, which, again, is kind of low. I do applaud TJ Otzelberger for coming out and playing Kansas State and Cal and UCLA to start the season. Marvin Menzies would have not done that. In fact, he would have done the exact opposite. He liked to have cupcakes to inflate his win total. I don't see that happening with TJ Otzelberger. That's why I think with 18 wins with this schedule, which is not an easy schedule, out of conference, so that means he'll probably go 60% in conference. I think that would be a successful season for him because he has chosen to schedule some difficult opponents in his out-of-conference.
So I just got a text from Ken Thompson. You do a show with him Friday night. He's a professional sports handicapper, and he does a show here Monday through Friday. I believe it's 8 to 10 p.m. So he just sent me a little information on this team that UNLV is playing. So IPFW was 18-15 overall last year, 9-7 in the Summit League, so nothing to be embarrassed about there.
Right.
They have only 2 starters coming back. They did lose their best player, Concher, who averaged 20 points per game last year. They split with TJ's team last year, 1-1. So this coach is obviously knowledgeable with what kind of system that TJ runs. This is a team that's averaged 19 wins a year over the course of the last 4 years. So that's the reason why this is not a 20-point spread. That's why it is a 10-point spread, and that is why the people who set these lines are saying this might be a closer game than people think. So this is not, I guess what we're trying to say here is this is not necessarily a pushover basketball team.
No, it's not.
This is a team that knows how to win in the Summit League. They have a good coaching staff, and this is a coaching staff that is very familiar with TJ Otzelberger's system. So this is not one of those pushover games that UNLV is accustomed to having in like the first game of the year. UNLV is going to have to perform tonight. And I don't know what the fan support's going to be like. I have no idea. I know that when they played an exhibition game against Baptist College, the crowd was terrible. But again, that is a preseason game. We tried to get Francois on the show today, the athletic director for UNLV, and we were told she was traveling. So I don't know if that means she's not going to be there for the first game of the year, but who knows? Maybe she's looking for a football coach as we speak. I don't know. That's her business. But anyway, UNLV in action tonight. We will certainly talk about the game tomorrow. We will be there. We will be watching it firsthand. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about a Monday Night Football incident, and I'm not talking about how horrible the Giants were last night, particularly in the second half. It involves a cat, a black cat. I'll explain exactly what that means coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn.
Psst, Bob, quick, the neighbors. There they go again. Jeez, it's like clockwork. Every weekend, he grabs his clubs, she grabs a duffel, and they're gone for the night. And when they come back, they look so relaxed and happy. Where do you think they go?
Well, they're not rich, so it must be affordable. Maybe some kind of marriage retreat?
Oh, right, with golf clubs. And she looks so refreshed.
We could use some of whatever it is. Go ask them when they get back.
Well, they're back. and you won't believe it.
Surprise me.
They've been going to Casablanca Resort in Mesquite on that $99 room and golf getaway. Sometimes they go for the $99 room and spa getaway. They love it.
Hey, we can afford $99, and it's only a little more than an hour's drive. Let's treat ourselves.
Book your $99 room and golf or spa getaway today at mesquitegaming.com or call 877-GETAWAY. Casablanca Resort in Mesquite, just like Vegas used to be. Must be 21 years or older.
Hey, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
A checkerboard has 64 spaces. If the first space had 1 checker, the second space doubled it to 2 checkers, the third space doubled it to 4 checkers, and so on. By the 36th space, you would have a stack of checkers that could reach the moon. The 64th space would reach another solar system.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and listen to us deliver timely, balanced truths about our market right here in Southern Nevada. You know, there's nothing that I enjoy more than educating our listeners about real estate, except maybe a well-prepared Reuben sandwich where the corned beef is really lean. Sorry, I digress. But please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
I really didn't feel safe anymore at home.
Every year, tens of thousands of youth experience homelessness.
The possibility of sleeping out on a park bench, it's not something that a 15-year-old should have to think about.
1-800-RUNAWAY provides 24-hour access to a nationwide network of housing and support services.
I felt such warmth, I felt comfort, I felt safe.
Call 1-800-RUNAWAY. Go to 1-800-RUNAWAY.org or text 66008. We can end youth homelessness.
I'm Linda Newman with the Popeye Foundation. We're a 100% volunteer 501c3 charity. We care for chronically ill and abused cats, and we need your help. The Popeye Foundation is always in need of cat food, towels, paper towels, non-clumping unscented clay litter, and your time. We're always looking for great volunteers to come help with our kitties. Find out more about the Popeye Foundation on our Facebook page. You can also visit us at our website, poppyfoundation.org.
Steve Sanchez, weekdays 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Tuesday. A reminder, we are also broadcasting live on YouTube on the Vegas Take page, so check us out there. You get to see my handsome face every morning. What's better than that, folks? Think about waking up in the morning and looking at me every morning when you wake up. It's like hitting the lottery, right? Anyway, check us out on YouTube, the Vegas Take page. So watching Monday Night Football last night with some friends, C. Wynn, Stein, our producer here. We're watching the game, and Giants were up 12-3. It was an awful game. But the Giants were pretty much in control for most of the first half, right? So the Giants are up 12-3. Then all of a sudden, this happens. This is Kevin Harlan, who is a, legendary broadcaster for Westwood One, calling this Monday Night Football game, and all of a sudden, a cat runs onto the field.
Halloween this past week, and a black cat is running across MetLife Stadium. Oh. Is this going to be bad for the Cowboys? If you're superstitious, a few weeks ago we were here for a Monday Night Football game. We had another Halloween theme. Now comes this.
Maybe we need to bring the ghost back to get rid of the cat.
I mean, maybe we should. I don't know. I mean, what are we doing here? We see. So we've gone from seeing ghosts to black cats now on Monday Night Football in MetLife. Oh boy. Oh, this ought to be fun here. And if this Cowboys season doesn't go the way it was expected to, blame that guy.
All right, so there you go. That's and by the way, the cat did score a touchdown, by the way. That wasn't Kevin Harlan, by the way, but we do have some Harlan audio we can play a little bit later. But anyway, point being, black cat running around the field, and a lot of people were saying to themselves, uh-oh, that's the demise for the Giants. They suck anyway. But they were up 12-3. This cat starts running around the field. There was about a 5-minute delay. And lo and behold, the Dallas Cowboys end up winning the game 37-18. Right? 37-18 was the final. Do you think, JD, that had anything to do with the fact that a black cat started running across the field?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. That's the only reason why they scored. They outscored the Giants 34-6 after that. That's why, because of the black cat.
Fair
100%.
enough. I would imagine you're being a little facetious.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not.
Well, let's hear from.
I'm all about superstition.
All right, well, let's hear from Kevin Harlan. This is actually the Kevin Harlan audio we wanted to play. Go ahead with that, John.
Oh, there's a cat. A black cat is taking the field. A black cat is running from the 20 to the near side, the 10. From the 39 in Dallas, here's a short throw down the middle, caught by Ingram. Caught at the 35, went to the 30. Now the cat running the other way. And so is Ingram at the 30 to the 25 to the 24-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. It's a catch run of 15. Now the cat is stopped at the 50.
So is it bad luck for the Giants? Is it bad luck for the Cowboys?
I don't know, but they've stopped playing. The players with hands on hips are watching the cat run and zigzag all over the field. The black cat is at the other end of the field. He's
black
at the
cat
8.
Doesn't know that it was last Thursday that was Halloween. Thursday night football, not Monday night football.
He's a little bit late. Now he is sitting
that was kind of
and
funny.
looking. Now he's at the 5. He's
Who brought the
walking.
cat?
Red zone.
He's walking to the 3. He's at the 2. And the cat is in the CDW red zone. CDW, people who get it. Now a policeman, a state trooper has come on the field, and the cat runs into the end zone.
Touchdown!
That is a touchdown! And the cat is elusive.
I love. First of all, leave it to Kevin Harlan. I love that guy. He's awesome. That was really funny. You see the difference in the broadcast there? Kevin was actually having fun with it. The other guy's like, it appears as though there's a cat on the field.
I like how he ran with it. Do you think that Kevin Harlan owns a cat or a dog, Brian?
I have no idea.
I think he's a cat guy.
How would I know that?
I'm getting a cat guy vibe from him, and I like it because I'm a cat guy too.
You're asking me my opinion to handicap the fact.
I'm having fun with this, Brian. Handicap it for me.
Whether I know.
I'm saying -180. Yes, he has a cat at home. That was plus 150. No, in fact, he probably was divorced twice because his wife loved dogs and he loved cats so much that they just didn't work it out.
Well, that's getting personal. I'm not going to go there,
okay.
But I will say this. I will ask this question: how the hell does a cat get there? I mean, obviously, there's some doors that are open, in the tunnel areas. I don't know. How the hell does a cat get onto the field? How does that happen? Do you think there's any chance that it was done purposely?
What, like someone just brought a cat in their bag?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Do
you think there's a chance of that? I don't know.
Like some type of witchcraft?
It's New York. People are crazy.
I suppose that's possible, but I'm pretty unlikely. Somehow a cat from the street got on the field.
I don't know. People bring octopus to NHL games. You never know.
Yeah, right.
It happens. People throw squid and weird fish onto the ice in hockey games, but they're dead though. That's the difference. These fish are dead.
This cat was very much
alive.
Not dead.
And I'll tell you what, that cat looked like he had better moves than the Giants quarterback. I'll tell you that much. Boy, was that guy terrible in the second half. He was awful. God, he threw so many bad balls. Can you imagine one good play he made in the second half? He threw a couple good passes in the first half. What the hell did he do in the second half? Nothing. And he didn't have any protection either. The Giants are awful. Anyway, we don't have time to break down the game. But what we do have time for is to talk about Popeyes. There was a stabbing at Popeyes because of a chicken sandwich, the popular chicken sandwich. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take.
Information is emerging from testimony being released by the impeachment inquiry. Gordon Sondland, the ambassador to the European Union, is asked whether he thought it was illegal to ask Ukraine to investigate the Bidens. He responded, "I think so." He also updated prior testimony to acknowledge that he told Ukrainian officials that military aid from the U.S. was contingent upon the Bidens' investigation. Correspondent Kylie Atwood tells us what Sondland says about how he learned what he knows.
I believe that the information may have come from either Mr. Giuliani or from Ambassador Volker, who may have discussed this with Mr. Giuliani. So what we see Ambassador Sondland doing here is pointing fingers directly at Rudy Giuliani.
The impeachment inquiry today announced it's called acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney to testify. A number of witnesses continue to be no-shows at the urging of the White House. On Wall Street, the Dow up about 80 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Pardee Homes. Watch for slowing for crash on the 95 northbound approaching Eastern Avenue. This is blocking the 2 left lanes. Stay to the right to get by. Also an accident reported on Sahara at Teddy Drive and a crash at Craig Road at Nellis Boulevard. And also possible slowing for police activity. Paradise at Flight Path Avenue. Get smart buy savings on move-in ready homes valley-wide from the high 200,000s at PardeeSmart.com. Pardee Homes is an equal opportunity housing builder. Nevada Contractors License Number 3633A. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Are you interested in owning rental properties right here in the Las Vegas area? Auction.com, the nation's leading real estate auctioneer, must sell 102 rental properties in the Las Vegas and Henderson markets. These are turnkey, income-producing single-family homes and condos with tenants and leases in place. That's right, the tenants are in place and currently paying rent on over 100 homes to be auctioned individually at auction.com/radio. Financing is available and a broker co-op is being offered for this one-time unprecedented online auction to be held November 11th through 13th. Add more rentals to your portfolio, diversify your investments to add real estate, or buy your very first real estate investment. This is an auction that can't be missed. View all homes and auction details at auction.com/radio. That's www.auction.com/radio. Auction is subject to a reserve.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this toy monkey, which will bang its cymbals when the right resume appears. Okay, there is no monkey.
I said there is no monkey!
But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
The Vegas Strong Resiliency Center is a safe haven, a place for residents, visitors, and responders affected by the tragic events of the 1 October shooting incident. Staffed with compassionate professionals, services include victim advocacy and support, counseling referrals, and help accessing the FBI's Victim Assistance Services website. The center is located at 1524 Pinto Lane. It's open weekdays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. For more information, call 702-455-AID or 1-833-2998.
Hearing loss is a growing health issue, but did you know that an estimated 1.1 billion young people worldwide are at risk of developing the condition? Limit your exposure to loud noises and use ear protection when attending sporting events or concerts. Also, limit your earbud headphones to no more than 60 minutes at a time and at 60% of the volume. And talk to your primary care physician or other health professional to get a hearing test. Go to www.hearingloss.org. A public service message from the Hearing Loss Association of America, High Health Innovations, and this station.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. Again, a reminder, we are broadcasting not only live here on the 50,000-watt superstation KDWN FM and AM, but we are also streaming live on YouTube. So you get to see our handsome mugs every morning if you so choose. So if you haven't heard about this story, it's a pretty big one. It's a big sandwich, I guess you could say, so to speak. Popeye's Chicken has this new chicken sandwich that is, I guess you could say it's a smash hit, so to speak. And our producer, Jason Stein, is in studio to give us a little bit of background on how this thing came about, this chicken sandwich. Tell us about it.
Well, here's the long and the short of it, Brian. A couple months back, Popeyes came out with this chicken sandwich. I think they had actually had the chicken sandwich on their menu in some locations, but they rolled it out nationwide. And that was very big news for fans of Popeye's Chicken. Chick-fil-A at the same time got wind of Popeye's new chicken sandwich and put out some kind of tweet about, hey, we're still the best, we're still the original, right? So then a Twitter war ensued between Popeyes and Chick-fil-A, which is, of course, good for business, and it drove up demand for this Popeyes chicken sandwich. And so for the last 2-3 months, people have been flocking to Popeyes to get their hands on this chicken. Now, I am told it actually is pretty good, but it also is that factor of like, I've got to try this thing that everyone's talking about, right? So if you go to Popeyes, from what I understand, to this day, even several months later, there's still a line at Popeyes for people trying to get. And at one point, Popeyes actually ran out of the chicken sandwich because it was so popular. And anyway, you take it from here, but I guess it's leading people. It's so good, it's leading people to kill for it, right?
Well, I'll tell you this. There is one local talk show host. I won't say his name because even if I did, you probably won't know who he is. But a local host in Vegas who does a sports show who went to 5 different Popeyes chicken places just to take pictures and talk about the lines. I guess there's nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon than do that. Maybe I should try that. I don't know. It sounds like the guy has a very exciting life.
He sounds like a real cool guy.
Yeah, it sounds like a real cool guy to hang out with. Hey, I wonder like if he has a girlfriend, which he probably doesn't. But I wonder like how that kind of, hey, honey, how about we just go to like 5 or 6 different Popeyes in town just so I could take pictures and put it on my social media page.
That's all he did?
Yeah. Yeah.
He just wanted to talk about, look at the Popeyes. This is the location. This one's...
I'll tell you off the air who he
was
is.
Real busy. This one was less busy.
I'll tell you off the air who he is, but he's very short and very fat. I don't know if that will help at all. But I'm just giving you a description of his body.
Big fan of Popeye's chicken.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But so anyway, yeah, he did that.
To see that.
So I'm at a friend's place the other night, and one of his roommates goes to Popeyes. Took him about 20 minutes. He comes back, and I tried this sandwich. I don't like spicy food. It's a little too spicy for me. I can understand why people like it. I think it's the sauce. The sauce is very flavorful, but you can get this type of sandwich almost anywhere. I mean, you could have the same flavor, the same sandwich anywhere else. I enjoy KFC. I like KFC.
So you thought the sandwich was just average?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was
good.
It wasn't,
but not.
It wasn't bad.
Didn't knock your socks off.
No, it was okay, but you could get a chicken sandwich like anywhere. JD, have you tried this sandwich?
No, I have not tried the sandwich yet.
I don't think it's very special.
And it's what, $3.99?
Is that what it is? I don't know.
Pretty pricey.
It's not cheap for fast food, right?
Pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's not.
Bit out of my price range.
Look at you. You're sounding very frugal.
I am. I'm extremely frugal. I'm food frugal.
Oh, I didn't know.
And this is right up my alley.
I didn't know you were frugal.
I haven't tried it, but I have seen the massive outrage over it, and it's it blows my mind.
How much of it is do you think that the sandwich is just so delicious, and how much of it is word of mouth and demand? You know, when it's a fad. You know, like everyone wants to have the chicken because they want to say they've had the chicken, right? I mean, it's like how much we don't know. I've not tried it. Well, I'm not going to sit. I'm not the kind of person to sit in a line for a chicken sandwich.
Well, we've heard the term before. That's to die for.
Do they still have it right now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They do.
So,
okay.
I've actually had meals with your dad, who enjoys food just as much as anybody. And
what are you saying, Brian?
He's had some food, and I've heard him say as he eats something, "Oh, this is to die for." I've heard him say that. Well, I need to tell your dad that the Popeyes chicken sandwich, literally somebody died over the sandwich. This is not something to joke around about, but this is actually a sandwich, literally, that somebody died for. Let me explain here, okay? It's so good, yes, someone died. A man online hoping to buy a Popeyes chicken sandwich in Maryland was stabbed to death on Monday. That is what investigators are saying. Now, the fight happened at around 7 p.m. when someone tried to cut into the line, okay? So there's a Popeyes chicken sandwich cutter. He tried to cut in front of the line. This happened in Maryland. Sources are telling Fox 5 DC the battle spilled into the restaurant's parking lot, and that's when cops were involved. And cops arrived. They said they found a man 28 years old with multiple stab wounds who sadly died because of cutting in line, police believe, over a Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Well, you know, people in line are hangry. You know that term, hangry. So, I mean, there's that.
This is horrible.
Plus, you know, you're waiting in that line. It's almost justified. It's almost justified.
It's almost justified to kill somebody over a sandwich. JD, do you agree with that? Is it almost justified to kill somebody?
Campaign look, I'm shaking his head back there.
That's horrible. Horrible.
No, I do not agree with that. I don't think it's remotely justified. In fact, it's one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Stein, you are representing the Vegas
Have you tried
take.
the chicken? I don't know.
$4. How long was the line?
I'm going to try it, and then I'll come back, and then I'll tell you.
Was he like a few steps away from actually ordering it in line, or was he further towards the back?
I don't have the surveillance video or the absolute specifics. What we do know is that police are saying that this gentleman attempted to cut in line. This guy might have had low blood sugar. Maybe he was a diabetic.
Exactly.
And maybe he was, you never know why he cut it.
And he happened to have a shank on him, a diabetic with a shank on him.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
Not a syringe, a shank.
It reminds me, I'm a big fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I remember the scene in Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David is in line waiting to see a movie, to buy movie tickets, and somebody that appears to be handicapped is walking past the line and, cuts in front and gets the ticket and nobody really says anything. And then it turns out that the guy was faking it. And it's like a whole to-do with the episode. So it is possible that someone could fake they're a diabetic, right? Fake low blood sugar to cut in line. I'm the type of person that would do something like that, Yes.
Like Kaiser Sose, Kevin Spacey, and the usual suspects.
Yeah, well, we don't want to talk about Kevin Spacey because last I checked, he was molesting boys. So we don't want to talk about Kevin Spacey. He's in hiding right now. Kevin is in hiding. If there was a line to molest kids, sadly, the only person on the planet that might cut the line would be Kevin Spacey.
Now, do you think that if you cut Kevin Spacey in that kid molesting line that he would stab you?
Well, Kevin Spacey should be cut in certain areas of his body. That's what I think. If we're talking about
I
cutting.
think the guy that murdered somebody over a $4 sandwich should not be alive either.
Well, yes, I agree with that. You should probably get the electric chair.
No reason to be in society.
Fry him up.
Obviously,
Well, JD, maybe he's mentally ill.
A lot of insecurities, a lot of mental issues, a lot of anger management problems.
I'm saying I just understand the anger if you're waiting in line and you're hungry. That's all I'm saying.
Can you imagine how that argument started?
Do I think you should be on the street? No.
Well,
absolutely not.
You could actually relate to that? If you're waiting in line and someone cut you in line and you were very hungry and you had a knife, you would consider.
I wouldn't have a knife.
But hypothetically, if you did, you would consider ending their life over that specific situation.
I might. Yeah, I might.
You would. I'm actually asking. I'm being honest right now.
I might.
You would actually consider that.
Sure.
Would you really? You're being serious?
I don't carry around a shank. That's ridiculous.
But you would think of it, though. The thought would enter your mind of killing somebody.
Don't you? Haven't you ever been behind someone in line that you just wanted to kill?
Hold on a second. Let's back up a couple steps. This is our producer, Jason Stein. You're telling me, Jason, that if somebody cut in front of you in a fast food line, even though you're not carrying a shank on you,
you're right.
The thought of murdering that person would actually enter your mind.
Yeah, like I'm going to kill that person. Sure.
Like you think that their life should not continue because they cut in front of you, and that offended you to the point where they should not breathe again.
That is correct.
All right. Well, I don't really know where to go with that. I think our producer's mentally ill. That's what I think.
I feel like that would be close to a death. Like that sounds like a red flag type of situation.
I don't want Jason Stein to ever purchase a gun.
Well, that's why I go through the drive-thru.
All right. So do you have road rage as well?
No, I used to have road rage. I don't have.
All right, listen. Here's the thing. Can I just talk about road rage?
That's very dangerous.
Okay, if someone cuts in front of me,
and I had it. I had road rage.
If somebody,
we talked about that.
if somebody
we
is,
could discuss it.
I know that. If somebody's driving recklessly and I make a comment, I could kill that guy.
Right.
I don't actually mean I want to kill him. It's a saying, right? It's a saying. But you're actually telling me what goes through your thoughts in your mind. It's a saying. You actually are thinking about stabbing someone to death or shooting someone if somebody cuts in front of you in line.
And
that's what you're. Is that what you're saying?
You're hungry and you're hangry.
The hangry is I think is the key factor there.
So the hangry has to exist for that emotion.
It has to be
let's make sure Stein doesn't suffer from low blood sugar during the show because you might come in here and kill me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, that's a bit much.
You have issues.
I don't own a gun. I don't own a shank.
Good.
Okay, let's say you want to see a movie, right? A movie.
Oh my God.
Well, what's your favorite franchise? Long-term franchise? Star Wars.
Don't think too hard, by the way.
I don't know.
Don't think too hard.
Okay, well, let's say that you wanted to see. Say you were a giant Star Wars.
What would
fan.
you do if you were hungry, you're starving, and someone cut in line?
Well, let's open up the phone lines. Let's see what people think.
I'd love to know.
What would you do?
I'm not saying. Let's be very clear here. I'm not saying I would kill the person. I probably would say something like, "Hey."
Right, but the thought would enter your mind. That's very normal.
Well, and see, this is different because at Popeyes.
Let me open up the phone lines.
I'm saying it would anger me a great deal.
Well, that's a very
that my imagination would probably run wild. Depending on how hungry I actually was.
To the point of someone just not having life anymore.
Because a teenager, Well, let me open up the phone lines. What would you do if you were in a fast food line and somebody cut in front of you? Would you have thoughts like our producer of killing that person, or if you're a normal human being, would you just be a little upset and let it go? The number to call.
What about just beating them?
Let me give out the
number.
number.
What about like beating them with a chain?
Okay, well, let me give out the number. Let's see what our listeners think. The number to call
is definitely assault.
702-257.
That make you feel better?
25. Let me give out the number, you jackasses. 257-5396 is the number to call. I give that number if you want to be a part of the show. 702-257-5396. It's a sad story. Someone in the line at Popeyes was trying to cut in front of the line to get a chicken sandwich. Well, he ended up getting stabbed and killed in the parking lot. It's a horrible story. Our producer just said he's got some anger issues, that if he's in line and he's hungry and somebody cut in front of him, the thought would actually enter his mind of murder. He's not saying he would do it. thank God. But just the thought of it to me is ridiculous. But I want to know what you guys think out there.
Also, I would think that there's probably more to this story as well.
Okay. Well,
I
I think there's more to your story. Let's take some calls. 702
got calls coming in here?
702-257-5396. Stay here for a little bit. Sure. All right. Why don't we start off this segment with Mike? I believe Mike is calling in to the Vegas Take. Mike, what do you think about this? What would you do, Mike, if somebody cut in front of you in a fast food line?
I probably wouldn't make too much big deal of it, but I would say, man, that's pretty rare, dude, but go ahead. God bless you.
So you wouldn't think of hurting that person physically or anything like that? You would just kind of let it go?
Hell no. Heck no. That's the furthest thing from my mind, and I could, too. I could easily hurt somebody, but I would have never do that.
Mike, I'm glad to hear that you sound normal because our producer has some issues. Do you think our producer has some anger issues? Give him some advice, please.
Who, Johnny?
No, our producer, Stein. He is in studio right now. He just said he would think of murdering somebody if somebody cut a line at a fast food restaurant. Mike, you sound like a level-headed individual, unlike our producer. Can you please give him some advice?
Yes, everything's on camera now. You would be taped, shared, and ridiculed across the planet within 5-10 seconds.
That's good. That's good advice, Mike. Mike,
when you're hungry, you're not thinking of the consequences.
Mike, we appreciate the phone call.
You got to consider the logistics of the situation, Stein.
Brian, did you guys hear about Amy Roback, the ABC reporter, on a hot mic? Said that she's been sitting on Epstein evidence with that implicates Bill Clinton and the Prince of
Yeah, this is why we cut our callers short right here.
Mike, I appreciate the phone call.
What he's talking about is that Amy Rohrbach of ABC News.
I know.
Yeah, she supposedly had the story on Epstein that the network killed.
I'll tell you what, Mike, we're going to talk about Epstein tomorrow, so you're welcome to call back. Thank you for the advice to our nut producer. 257-5396. Let's go to Lamont. Lamont, you're next. What would you do if somebody tried to cut you in line at fast food?
Well, it all depends on how they cut in line. If somebody just blatantly walk up in front and just act like, there's no line, then I say, hey, the line starts back there. You know what I mean?
I get that, but I guess obviously...
You wouldn't?
No, I of course I would. I would be a little upset. If somebody
I wouldn't be upset. I would just say, yo, the line starts back there.
And what if he ignored you? Then what would you do?
Then I'd say, yo, homie, the line starts back there.
And what if he didn't respond to you?
Lamont, what would it take to stab this guy? What would he have to do for you to stab him?
Ain't no fast food worth stabbing somebody
That's true.
over.
That's true.
And especially, you got to think about this, Stein. Every single person in front of you is going to order the Popeye sandwich, right? It's not going to take a long time to prepare this. So logistically, you're looking at what? An extra 45 seconds, maybe a minute of your time?
I'm saying
the principle to you is what the issue is.
I'm saying that's exactly right. There's two things here. A, the combination of being very hungry with low blood sugar and wanting food and needing food.
You guys are nuts.
Coupled with the societal problem of people being rude and cutting in line and thinking they can get away with it.
All right, well, here's
would make me want to kill somebody. Not that I actually would, or not that I have any means to.
Here's somebody that size.
Yes, that thought might enter my brain. Now, I would not actually stab this and kill this guy like this guy in Maryland did.
All right, well,
that's a whole other thing.
We got somebody on the line that actually sides with Stein. By the way, the number to call, 257-5396. What would you do if somebody cut in front of you in line, fast food? What would you do? How would you handle that? Let's go to Nathan. Nathan, what do you think about all this? What would you do, Nathan, if somebody cut in front of you?
Oh, man, I'm starving, waiting in line. I'd castrate the guy, have some Rocky Mountain oysters.
He'd cut his balls off.
No, you wouldn't.
That's exactly what he says. The Rocky Mountain oysters are.
Well, that's pretty serious. No, you wouldn't. Nathan, come on.
We should get this guy's number.
Nathan.
Nathan.
No. We may need to report him. I don't know.
Okay, seriously, Nathan. You're in line in a fast food place, and somebody cuts in front of you. What's the first thing that you would do?
Oh, man, you tell me, hey, look, get in the back of the line,
Yeah.
I usually got my kids with me, so I'm not going to act too stupid, But generally, you want to, say, hey, get in the back of the line. Come on, man.
Nathan, let me tell you something, my friend, okay? I would never cut you off in line anywhere because I need my oysters intact and in place because it would hurt my sex life.
But see, you're missing the point. He said this is all about thoughts. This is not about actual actions.
I understand.
The guy in Maryland,
Yes.
he's insane. He stabbed and killed someone over a chicken sandwich. But who's this caller again?
Nathan.
Nathan's point is he would at least, the thought, Nathan, right? I don't want to misrepresent what you're saying. The thought would at least enter your mind, I'm going to cut this guy's testicles off.
It's all figurative. Come on, man. It's in the back.
Yeah,
of
it's
your
all figurative.
imagination.
It's in the back of your mind. That's why it's all. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
Since cutting someone in line is basically on the same plane as castrating someone, I think that's a reasonable response.
That's extremely reasonable.
Yeah, it
you
seems
cut me
reasonable.
in line, now I'm going to cut you.
Right.
Yeah. 257-5396. Why don't we go to Frank? Frank, you're next on the Vegas Take. What would you do in this situation?
Brian, a great topic and very realistic, by the way.
Yeah.
Given
problems.
the fact that I always have my Constitution with me, it's a question of, can I get a libertarian, a Tea Party, a constitutionalist on my jury? Because I'm old.
Speaking of mentally ill.
I'm just gonna bust a cap in you. You know, that's it. That's where it's at. I feel vindicated, but it's going to come down to a jury, and it all depends on who's
Do you
on
think
the jury.
Do you think there are people that would be on juries? Maybe you could get the OJ jury that would say, you know what, I feel for Frank because he would have had to wait in line for another 2 or 3 minutes. So the fact that he just beat the hell out of this guy, it's okay because his blood sugar was low and he was hungry. You actually think there are jurors that would be okay with that?
That is you know what? You missed your calling, Brian. I think your undergraduate degree was law attorney. You're one of those goddamn bottom feeders, Brian.
Bottom feeder. All right. Well, thank you for the call, Frank. I'm glad Frank was able to crack himself up, but I think Frank is one of those people that is mentally ill, and I think maybe we need to help Frank out a little bit. But Frank, I appreciate the phone call. I am still a little bit.
Frank, clearly your mental illness is because you are a victim of your circumstances.
I am still
not because of your own decisions.
Of course. Well, you know,
obviously.
I think our producer. I'm a little concerned about him because behavior the last couple of days. I got to bring this up. I'm sorry. I got to bring this story up.
Don't
I have to do
talk about OJ.
No, we want to talk about you for a second. So our nice gentleman who works for us, okay, his name is Campaign, and he does all the photog for us, right? The camera work for us. It's the reason why we are broadcasting live on YouTube right now as we speak. So
Campaign runs our branding team.
So Campaign happens to be African American, okay? Now, I don't notice that, but I think our producer does, but I'll get to that in a second.
I don't notice that.
So our producer walks in studio today. First thing he says to Campaign is, Campaign, you eat that chicken at Popeyes? And
first of all,
and Campaign got upset. He's like, oh, you're saying that because I'm a black man? Is that what you would do? You would just bring that up because I'm black? And they get into this little argument for like a couple minutes, and I actually recorded part of the argument. I think I want to post it on social media because it was very funny to me. Of course, I'm egging him on.
I watched it. It was actually, I don't think Brian's a very funny guy. I just don't. But that was pretty funny.
You don't think I'm a funny guy?
No, but that was funny.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to start. Okay. What do you mean I'm not? Now you're insulting me? How did this story?
I am not insulting you.
How did this story
I'm
come
just
to
expressing
insulting
my
me?
opinion, Brian.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Okay, now that I've been thoroughly slandered.
Should I be homeless now because I'm offending you?
Should you be homeless? No. If you want to insult Campaign because he's black, go ahead.
No, I'm not
I don't condone it, and I'm not going to make an excuse that you're mentally ill.
I'm just saying that you are not funny, and that was funny.
I think I'm.
Racism is funny.
How did this start by attacking me?
First things first. First thing I said, "Good morning, Campaign." That was the first thing I said to him. All right, and then second of all,
that's the reason that's valid.
Brian and I were we were going over the show for the day, and I said, "Here's this chicken story. We should talk about this. It's very interesting." And it's this chicken sandwich. Everyone says it's great. I turned to Campaign, and I said, "By the way, have you had the Popeye's chicken sandwich?" That's all I said.
He got a little upset at that.
I was including him in the conversation.
Well, I think he took a little bit of offense to it.
Well, no offense was meant.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If we were talking about a tuna...
If someone asked me if I tried a matzo ball soup, I wouldn't fly off the handle.
If we were talking... Okay, let me ask you a question. If we were talking about a tuna sandwich, would that have been the first thing you would have asked Campaign? If it
Definitely.
Was,
Definitely.
Now, Campaign, do you agree with that? No, he doesn't.
Now,
Campaign thinks I look like a dirty cop.
Campaign, what if he asked you about watching basketball last night because a lot of athletes in the NBA happen to be African American? Would you take offense to that as well?
That's a good question.
That would be offensive.
Is that offensive too?
No, that's not
offensive.
Now,
okay, basketball okay, chicken sandwich not okay.
Chicken sandwich is where he draws the line.
Now, Campaign, what if he had asked you if you had eaten watermelon with a spoon before coming to the show? Would that be offensive?
Okay, yes, that would have. Can I speak?
That's not even realistic.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, that would have been offensive.
Okay.
There are certain things you cannot
It's
say.
offensive that you even said it hypothetically.
That is.
I'm just asking questions.
JD, you must be mentally ill.
I'm just asking questions. I'm trying to figure out the gauge here.
Wow, you are mentally ill. That was a mentally ill question to ask. We need to get you help. Stretch Sanders, we're going to bring Stretch back in here. He is going to help you. Okay? He needs to help you. Stretch needs to help both of you, actually. How the hell could you think about murdering somebody if they cut you in line at fast food? What's wrong with you?
I don't apologize.
Are you nuts?
Yeah, well.
Are you crazy? What if I cut you off on the street?
I think crazy is cutting in front of someone in line. I think that's crazy. I think that's unbelievable.
Okay, it's a selfish thing to do.
What if I walked in and campaign asked me if I tried to dunk last night a couple of times and I didn't do it, or if I
well, you can't jump though.
If I spent 2 hours in front of watching YouTube trying to teach myself how to break dance, now would that be offensive to me?
Or if you shopped at the Gap last night.
Why would that be? I don't get it. The Gap?
It's a stereotypical white thing to do.
Going to the Gap. I don't go to the Gap.
Jimmy campaign. Look, he agrees.
Oh, okay.
Gap,
All right.
Bed Bath & Beyond. Those are white people things, right?
Okay. Well,
stereotypically speaking.
I guess you could say. I would say that anyone who says anything in the history now, whether it's racist or anything, it must be because you're mentally ill.
You're definitely mentally ill.
We're just going to make that assumption. And so
you
I'm
should probably be homeless.
And I've been saying this. I've been saying this for several years now. It all goes back to the president of the United States, Donald Trump. You are seriously mentally ill, and you belong in a mental institution. I will say that
and despite
right now.
the fact that Brian and Donald Trump, basically have a lot of similarities in their demeanor,
we absolutely don't.
Brian is not mentally ill, but Donald Trump is.
We absolutely are not.
Right.
I wish I had a daughter that looked like Donald Trump's daughter. I will give him credit for that. All right, so tomorrow on the show, in-studio guest, Michael Avenatti. We're going to have a lot of fun with him. It's going to be very enjoyable. We're going to get some Republicans to get in the ring with him, debate him as well. We're going to give you updates, of course, on this impeachment inquiry. And we will also talk to you a little bit about the opening day of college basketball, which is tonight with UNLV. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We are going to take a 21-hour break. Your Majesty, Sean Hannity, is coming up next. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
I'm just saying.
Alan Dershowitz is speaking out.